Okay. First thing I want to do is welcome everybody and kind of review the agenda. This morning we'll have a few comments from our sponsors. Then we'll go through some committee reports. Then we'll move on to our election for secretary and our at-large candidates. We'll have some comments, and then we'll break for lunch. And when we come back, we'll have six-time PGA Tour winner Chris Kirk, a little Q&A with Scott Geary. So that'll be a fun afternoon. Hope everybody sticks around for that. I'd like to introduce all our officers and district director here at the head table. We got Josh Deal, our vice president, Mike Miller, our secretary, Scott Geary, CEO, John Godwin, honorary president, and Russ Libby is here, our District 13 director. Our board members in attendance are Nick Bales, if you guys will stand, Elizabeth Clarkson, Ryan Joyce, Yul Kemp, David Potts, Pamela Shelley, and Rashad Wilson. Thank you, all you guys, for all your service. I appreciate it. Forgot Sean Coach. Well, he wasn't listed. All right. Also want to recognize our past presidents in attendance, Brian Albertson, Jim Arndt, Danny Elkins, and Mike McCollum. If you guys will stand, thank you so much for your service to our section. Want to thank all of our partners that we couldn't do this without. Visit Athens, Member Sports, Global Golf Sales, Blue Golf, Levelware, Oars and Alps, and Harris Casino. Thank you guys so much for all that you do to help us put this great event on. And with that, we'll have a few comments from some of our sponsors. At this time, I'm going to introduce Nick Anderson from Member Sports.
Good morning. It's good to be here with you all. Great to be down in Georgia. Love coming here. There's a great energy with the PGA pros down here, and we're excited to be sponsors with the section. Now, one thing that I wanted to just comment on today is you guys are in a very unique industry. Golf is something that, we put a lot of thought and energy into how to create a golf software system that you can use to help benefit and enhance the experience for you and the players. And that's exactly what our system does. It's an all-in-one platform that includes a tee sheet, point of sale, tournament software, food and beverage, communication center, reporting, everything all in one. And it's something unique too is that, with their tournament software that, you can run a tournament, have it all on your tee sheet, make changes on the fly. Don't worry about going from one software to another software, and it's all integrated, and it's very easy to use, very intuitive. But one thing, as you go through that, one thing that we're really trying to do and really trying to drive home is to help golf courses and operators increase revenue, and how to do that in many ways. We have a couple ways that we've really wanted to push and help you understand that, where the world is going, where everybody else is going, and golf is always slow to adapt to, is ways in technology and ways in revenue. And we help to kind of ease that pain as you go through it. Golf is, and getting back to the uniqueness of golf, it's a sport, but it's the only sport that I know of that you have to go pay to play. You can't just go to a park. You can't just go pick it up. You can't just go do anything. And I categorize it not as a sport, but as an entertainment. And you look at any entertainment venue where you're going to a concert, whether you're going to something to go watch, you have to pay for that ticket before you get there. A lot of times you can pay when you get there, but prices can change, and it's all about demand. Golf is the same thing. Take clients out, people come to play golf, they do these things, and we have a very good way of helping you transition either from a come to the course and pay when you get there, book online and do all that, but also or just go to straight card authorization before you make the tee time, or go to prepay. Those are a lot of things that we're seeing in the industry, and there's a lot of just hesitancy of switching and going to prepay. I know it's a hard thing because you guys have to deal with the players. You want to give them the best experience. But it's one of those things that every course that we've onboarded and that we've worked with, they've all enhanced their experience with the players and with the people. And we want to help you do that because we have ways that will really ease that. And one of them is called self-pay. So when you go out and you say you switch to prepay, you're going to get a lot of people coming in and griping in because golf is expensive and they have to pay for that foursome and then go ask for Venmo. They have to go, do all these things where our system will allow you to book a tee time and then send invitations for the 3 available spots out to all your friends. You can send it to 10, 20, 30 different friends, and the first 3 to respond to accept and to pay, get put onto the tee sheet automatically. And you control those parameters of when you have to have payments, when those reminders are set, and then if, say they don't pay, it gives the opportunity for the person that made the tee time to either pay or those times are released back onto your tee sheet for others to book. And you can control those parameters. But it eases that process of going to a prepaid world, which most of us already live in. Can't fly here, you can't get a hotel, you can't do anything without prepaying. So don't be afraid to make that switch. And one of the reasons I say that is because there's also, we have statistics on every course that has gone to a prepay system has increased their revenue. They don't have very many no-shows. They don't have all these things. But, I mean, we're talking like 20, 30% increase of revenues. We have a course that just sent us an email yesterday in Ohio that says they're up from, they just switched to us this right before the opening in March, and year over year they're up 30% because they went to prepay. And it's not something that you're not increasing your pricing, you're not doing anything else other than just allowing people to pay before they come, and it just helps that process for you guys to have a better experience yourselves and don't have to worry about people canceling, people not showing. And we also have a very good no-show process that helps that you can either excuse, charge, or do different things in that. But anyway, those are things that our technology really, we focus on enhancing that experience, and we hope to talk to more of you. We really want to gain a good presence here in Georgia. We are very excited for all the new and upcoming updates that we have in our system, and we are one of those that we're not satisfied to where we are. We want to continue to use current technology. We want to continue to implement new and current processes, technology, and one unique thing about us too is that we completely control the pricing for merchant processing and support it all directly in-house. We don't send you to a third party. We don't do anything. Every issue that we have in our system, if there is one, comes directly to us, and it's all United States based. Everything we do, all of our people, all of our support is here locally, and that's we feel that's very important, and we know that can be important to others out there as well. So we appreciate your support, and anything, please reach out to me if you have any questions, you want a demo. I promise you it's worth it. Like I said, we're doing things that no other system is doing, and we're doing it at a fast rate. And my email is nick@membersports.com. It's very easy. Reach out if this off season, schedule a demo, and we'd love to partner and work with you guys. So thank you for your support, and we're happy to be here.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, now we're going to bring up TJ Short from Global Golf Sales.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Kerry. I'm going to work from this side of the room over here with the section staff just so I can glance at the screen with you. So whichever screen's more convenient for you, if you wouldn't mind just looking in that direction, and I'll just go ahead and speak with some context over what we'd like to share with you today. Again, my name is TJ Short on behalf of Global Golf Sales. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. It's great to see a number of familiar faces. I know we work with many of you in here. Just going to go through everything pretty quickly today, have some visuals, and just share a little context on our service capabilities. So as just a quick refresher, we are a wholesale distributor. As you'll see here in the next couple minutes, our focus is on the country club, the Daily Fee Club, the Greengrass Golf Professional. The company has been around over 20 years. We've learned a lot along the way, what works, what doesn't, how to improve. So a lot of that is laid into our present day operation. And we just have an extensive assortment of products, as you'll see here today and in our catalog. So in-depth offerings, and our focus is service. So we want to share a couple of details with you today on how we do that. Our bread and butter is the custom tee business. We'll certainly do plain tees. But as you look into printed, customized tees, it's evolving, it's in vogue, it's popular. We're seeing clubs do it all the time, or sometimes do even more than one. So what we do is we do everything in-house. So we'll take the process start to finish. We can send you proofs if you just want to see what it looks like or see what the pricing might be like. Draw up a bunch of different options for you guys to check out. And then this goes for also our ball marks and repair tools as well. The main point to stress here is an in-house process. This is a big differentiating factor. It helps us with turnaround time, inventory management, quality of control, and pricing. So controlling everything in-house. Wanted to show you what that looks like real quick. I know there's some smaller pictures, but there are the machines. There they are right there in Florida in our warehouse running. So I can't stress this as enough. People look at some of these things that wholesalers do as commoditized. So how do you differentiate? Again, total control. When you're working with a vendor that can do anything you need, we've got folks that call us and say, I ran out of tees, or I want to do something for a member guest, or I forgot about this, or I want to change that. It's a heck of a lot easier to do it when you control everything, and that's what we do. So what does that mean for the golf professional? You want to be in business, and you want to partner with someone that's able to do things quickly for you, have a lot of control over what they're doing. Just a few images of our kind of daily projects, pencils, repair tools, ball markers, towels, bag tags, etc. So a pretty common occurrence for clubs to look at us for their tees, their ball marks, their repair tools, pencils, and just kind of put everything together in a pre-book process. Pretty self-explanatory on the grip side. We do have 1 and 2 day shipping service. We've come a long way. There was a couple years ago, there was some inventory stuff, as you may recall. Everything's much better, and that's recovered now. So just carrying all the major brands. We're open to 5 o'clock in our warehouse every day. We can take orders up to about 4:15 and ship them out the same day. So just getting stuff to you quickly, having everything in stock, representing all the brands, and just having one option there for your grips as well. Our additional categories, so one of the things we do as well is work with a lot of different manufacturers. I talked about the things that we control and do in-house. On the outside furnishing side, it's always a good idea to check with us. We're one source. We can go out and look at multiple different options, and if nothing else, we just get you pricing, we get you information, we share with you what's out there. If you choose to work with us, great. If not, at least you've got more information. So some examples of some different tee markers, furnishing projects, course signage out there that people have utilized us for. And then again, on your range and on-course supply, a lot of this stuff you might look at and say, well, I've ordered this from a Range Servant or this from a Wittek. Again, we're a distributor. That's a pricing power situation. So always good to check with us and just say, hey, what does it look like if I need to get 12 new mats or a ball picker? Again, we'll go out there and source that for you and share with you the best option that we can get for you and the best price we can get for you. Tents, table covers, coolers, all your outdoor supply, fully covered in that as well. Logoed items that we can help you with. So we've talked quickly through products. We've talked through service. I recognize this is a little far away from some of you, but just wanted to lay some pricing examples in here for you too. So one of the largest tee providers, table cover provider, or repair tool on the bottom. These aren't just random websites. These are people that you're buying products from. In all instances, you see price savings with Global Golf Sales on a box of tees, on a logoed table cover, on a logoed repair tool. Again, tents, ball pickers, depending on how you decorate a tent, you got a ball picker from a major supplier, lower pricing with Global Golf Sales. So did want to share that with you just so you can see some of those examples in real time. We are always trying to evolve with new products. When we go out and try to create something or identify or partner with someone on a new product, we're really focused on one of two things. Does it solve a price point problem, or is it unique and is it different? And that's kind of what we focus on as we wholesale to golf clubs. So a couple of new products that you see up there with the metal ball markers that have become more popular, some signage, some dividers, and then we've created our own starters box and mats. Both products that were being sold for hundreds of dollars that we were able to just create a better pricing situation with a quality product. And then just a couple things to conclude. We've evolved our sort of our B2B, our customer service side with online access and capabilities. So we've been running with this for about 6 to 9 months now, and just very simple. If you're a partner of Global Golf Sales or you want to work with Global Golf Sales, it's quite simple. You go in, you can track an order, you can pay an invoice, you can look up what it costs to get a ladies tour velvet at wholesale. You could look up what did I pay for something last year. So a whole lot of control. We realize we're an 8 to 5 business. Golf pros could be working at 6:30 in the morning or 6:30 at night. You're always going to have access to what you do with us or what you might want to do with us if you use this online portal. So just very intuitive for those folks that just want to use the internet versus email or phone. And just in wrapping up, hopefully we've shown you the extensive product line today. You can see some differentiation on our service and then the control that we have with doing everything in-house in our warehouse in Florida. You've seen some examples of pricing. We're competitive, we're out in front of it, and we can solve problems on the pricing side. And at the end of the day, we want to provide solutions. Every day we talk with golf professionals like yourselves running clubs that I got this issue, I got that, I need this sooner, what does this look like? And that's where we come in with all our capabilities to just help make things easier. And that's our main goal in any partnership with any club. And of course, our longstanding partnership with the section. So thank you for having me today and for your support and giving us a few minutes to share what we do. Have a great rest of the program.
Thank you, sir. Well done.
Thank you, TJ. Next, we have Cameron Fossa from Blue Golf.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Cameron Fossa, Regional Sales Manager with Blue Golf. It was great to meet everybody that stopped by our booth yesterday at the merchandise show. I would like to start by just thanking the entire Georgia PGA staff and all of you guys for a great event the last couple of days and for giving me the opportunity to speak here today with you guys. Blue Golf has been working with the Georgia PGA for 17 years now and has been a wonderful partnership. And as part of that partnership, Blue Golf would like to offer special pricing to all Georgia PGA members and clubs for Blue Golf TM services. Blue Golf provides next-generation tournament management systems. Our affordable premium options start at just $1,500 per year, giving clubs more access to live scoring and help increase the bottom line. The platform has all the features you need to manage any tournament or leagues from start to finish in a streamlined, easy-to-use, easy-to-learn system. New this year, we're offering clubs versatile solutions by offering Blue Golf 360 product. This is the same system that the Georgia PGA uses and 32 other PGA sections use every day. With Blue Golf 360, you get many advanced features such as the customized tournament information pages, leaderboards, and detailed scorecards, having the ability to click around on certain holes, compare scores to the rest of the field, and get highlights from your round. You could also have branded apps, giving your members golf-specific branded app for your clubs, and then a TD app where you can make changes for your tournament, communicate with players, or effectively run your event straight from the first tee or anywhere on the golf course. We also integrated with 4UP and Club Essential software. 4UP customers can enjoy great integrations such as roster syncing, tee sheet, and tournament payments with a click of a button, saving pros time on the day of the event. And Club Essential members could also enjoy these integrations, as well as single sign-on from the Club Essential app or website, giving their membership the ability to sign up, view a schedule, or access their scorecard straight from their Club Essential app. In conclusion, Blue Golf is now offering pros versatile solutions in the TM market. Again, want to thank everybody for having me here today. If you want to take a look at our system, please let me know and we could schedule a demo. Hope everybody has a great fall and the end of their season. Thanks.
Okay, next we'll bring up Russ Libby for our District 13 report.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's great to be with all of you here this morning. I see a lot of friends in here that I've known for 2 decades. I guess I'm getting older, but it's great to see some people that I served with. Danny Elkins was president of the Georgia section back when I was president of North Florida PGA many, many years ago. The irony is my son was up at Doublegate about a month ago for his PAT. And as luck would have it, he was actually playing alongside Jason, Danny's son. So, you know, what the irony of that is unbelievable. But they both played great that day. They're both in the associate program, and I'm really proud of that. So it's great to see you all. Part of my duties as your district director are to represent North Florida, South Florida, Georgia on the national board. But the greatest fun that I have is coming to the section meetings. I believe that our sections, our chapters, to most all of us, me included, that's my PGA. I'm in the northern chapter of the North Florida PGA, and I know how all of you feel about being members here of the Georgia PGA. Such a great tradition, and certainly a lot of fun last night. What you're doing with the merchandise show, last night's festivities, your new CEO, not new anymore, are you, Scott? But really some exciting energy with the Georgia PGA, and I'm really proud to represent you on the national stage. I'm also excited to serve with Kerry. In November, Kerry will be announced officially as an incoming board of director, and he'll be sitting in the room with me for the next year as an incoming, and then you'll get your hand raised in about a year and 1 month and become the representative for District 13. So you may know this, District 13 is the largest district. We have 4,650 PGA members and associates. We're the largest, but it's not just about the size, it's about the quality of the facilities that we have throughout this very large district, and the PGA professionals. Some of the best in the world reside within District 13. So really proud of that, and we carry a lot of clout. In the boardroom, people listen to us when we speak about some of the challenges we might be having, some of the needs of our members, so that is not lost on me. I wanted to go through a couple of quick things with you as far as what happened here in 2024 so far. The first thing is we have a very compressed championship schedule. It starts in late April, and it wraps up with the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. This year, that was in Seattle. But it's quite a compressed schedule, as I said, and the one thing that my biggest takeaway is how proud I am of Kerry Haig and his team. You think about what happened at the PGA Championship this year and how it ended on such a high note, and really regarded, you looked at the TV ratings, where some championships were seeing a down year on viewership. The PGA Championship was up 12% on Sunday. So pretty exciting for the PGA in our future, and we've got the Ryder Cup coming up, of course, in 2025. We'll be celebrating our year out at the end of this month in New York, so a lot of excitement around that. And of course, our captain, Keegan Bradley, has also created a lot of energy thus far, so really excited about what's going to happen in Bethpage a year from now. Of course, we had the Olympics this year, perfect ending with Scotty Scheffler shooting 62 to capture the gold medal this year for the United States. We also had an exciting event here back in July. One thing that I've really tried to do is bring our district together, and it wasn't that hard to do, to be honest with you. We just had to find a date, but we convened Georgia, North Florida, South Florida. We convened at TPC Sawgrass back in July and spent 2 days sharing ideas, best practices, talking about how we can better serve the needs of our members, and a lot of good camaraderie too. And I'm really excited to get to know everybody up on this stage a little better through that process. And I've noticed that connection between the leaders of our sections as well. And I think that's a good thing for our district. Wanted to give you a brief update on our CEO search. We had 300 applicants for the CEO for the PGA of America. And so we actually have a search committee. We've been working with Spencer Stewart, and also ExecuSearch posted that initial offering for that CEO search. We've really had some great talented, I have 2 of my classmates on the board that are on the search committee, so I get a lot of updates from them. But as you can imagine, 300 is a big number to cull through that and find the very best. It's going to take some time. Our goal is to get that down to about 60 candidates by the end of this month, and then by mid-October down to 10. The plan is to have the announcement made at the annual meeting, which is in early November in Grand Rapids, and hopefully have that position filled by the start of the year. One thing the committee, the search committee, has really taken ownership over this. It's not so much about Spencer Stewart. They've been a great ally and a great partner on this, but I'm really proud of the search committee because they said early on, this is our search. And they've really taken the reins on this, and I'm pretty excited about it. And I will tell you this, we've got some tremendous PGA members that are candidates for our CEO position. And it's a fairly complicated job, right? You've got the largest sports organization in the world, and you've also got our members, 30,000 PGA members and associates out there, and it's a big business, right? We've got the Ryder Cup and the PGA Championship, which drive all the revenues to the association, a good bulk of them, so that we can deliver programming down to the sections and also to PGA Reach. So it's a big job. It takes somebody that's got a lot of different skills, and the committee is going to take their time. And if they don't make that decision by November, that's okay too. They're going to try to hit the November annual meeting date to make the announcement, but they've already indicated that they're going to make sure they get this right. And they've been really impressed with the quality of the candidates, particularly the PGA members that have applied. The last thing I want to share with you, I don't think this is up on the screen, but it's in your packet, is just talking a little bit about the demographics of our district. As I said, we are the largest with 4,650 members. We have 3,823 PGA members and 824 PGA associates. Both of those are #1 in the country. We also have the most life members and retired members. We have 1,100 life members and retired members. We're getting older as a district. So it just goes to show you that it's important that we continue our recruiting process. Matt Heiner's here today. He's going to speak a little bit later. But it's really important that we continue to grow the ranks of our associates program. I'm pleased to say that we have 4,700, it's about 4,500 right now after the recent recertification period ended. But of those, we have 1,700 more PGA associates than we did last year at this time. So out of the 4,500 though, 6,500, this is the bad news. Of the 6,500, 5,500 are in level 1 right now. They're just getting started with the program. It's really incumbent upon us to get them through, and that's going to take some mentoring from people in this room. It's going to take some encouragement to get them through this program. And the reason for that is we have about 11,000 PGA professionals across the country. They're going to reach the age of retirement here in the next 5 to 10 years. So it's really important that we keep that pipeline full. The exciting news, too, is there's a lot of opportunities for young men and women that want to get in the PGA of America program. So I want to share a couple of results here from a recent member survey. So Georgia PGA, you're the first one to get the results here, but it's pretty positive. So we had 8,000 PGA members complete the survey last year. And I'm going to pull my notes up here really quickly. Bear with me just one second. It's quite a lengthy survey. The main takeaways are this, though. When we spoke last year, we talked about some new goals, North Stars, that the PGA of America was putting forth, and it really put some quantitative markings on how we're doing as an association, not just in the Georgia PGA, not just in District 13, but globally and across the whole country. Having 8,000 PGA professionals complete the survey was the biggest thing that we had going. This is the highest number of participants that we've had since 2016. But I'm pleased to report to you, and this was the biggest thing to me, and Carrie and I talked about this, is about 5 years ago, if you took a straw poll from our members in the room about how many of you would recommend to your son or daughter getting in the career, getting in the business of golf, not that many hands would have gone up. But I'm pleased to say that 56% of those that took the survey now are saying, I would love to have my son or daughter get in the business. And that goes to show you what's happened since COVID, the popularity of the game. As Seth Y used to say, golf is cool again, and that's really important. And we're also seeing compensation levels. We're going to see this from Doug earlier, a little bit later today. Compensation levels continue to grow for our PGA professionals in the program. Here's some of the North Stars. Thank you for putting that up there. It's a fairly lengthy survey. It is something that you can all have access to. I won't belabor all the results in it, but I'm really pleased to say that we hit our North Star goals. We're only a year in on this. We hit every one of them and exceeded them. So we're doing some good things. Can we get better? Absolutely. But I was really pleased to get some of the feedback here. And I'm happy to talk to you a little bit more about this later today if you want to huddle in the corner. So I won't take too much more of your time. I know you have a lot to go over today, but I just want to, again, thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you for allowing me to represent you, and I'm looking forward to spending the day with you.
We'll go through a couple committee reports here now. Bring up Nick Bales, our awards committee chair.
Thank you, Kerry. Good morning, everyone. I won't take up too much of your time, but if I could get everybody to take a look at the screen closest to you. One of the things we did as an awards committee is we took a look at really the last 3 words of our awards of the year. And we wanted to really narrow that window of what we're looking at when we're trying to compare apples to apples between the nominees. So our awards timeline is up there. I'm not going to go through it, but you can see that we're getting close to opening up the nomination period for this year. And it will be just for 2024. So the awards period will be January 1st, 2024 through basically right now. And that's our window that we're going to use when we are reviewing all the applications for our nominees and for our potential award winners. We just think that's a little cleaner, and I think that's going to help us as a committee really identify our winners. The other thing that I want to really stress to everybody here is that throughout the nomination process, you're going to get nominated, and then once you are nominated, you are going to get a form that you have to fill out, and that's where you get your opportunity to tell your story. And that's what we as a committee go off of, because as much as I would love to say that I know the nearly 1,000 members that we have in our section, we still don't know what you do day in and day out that makes your story special, and that's something we really want to celebrate. So you've got to really put in that same passion in your form, in your submission, that you do every day that makes you part of this process. And we really want to celebrate that as a committee, and we think that if we can get more submissions and then more people to understand that really that nomination form that you fill out, that's the key to all of this. That's where we get to hear about your story, and we get to celebrate you. And if you haven't been to Mercedes-Benz and the awards banquet, I can tell you that is a really special night, and it's powerful to watch these award winners get up and accept their awards and have their families there, and really be able to thank the people in their lives that make the sacrifices for them and all the hours and hard work they put into the awards. So it's been fantastic for me to be on the committee and see this process and how impactful it is to all of our winners. So I would encourage each of you to nominate, fill out your submissions, and I look forward to reading about your stories and presenting our award winners in February. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Super proud of this process and how it operates now. I mean, I think it's vetted very, very well, and it's a testament to that committee and the hard work that you do. At this point, we'll bring up Mike Miller for our secretary and fundraising report.
Good morning, everyone. On the secretary side of things, just some numbers to keep in mind. We do have 763 members here in Georgia, 228 associates. That goes to Russ's point earlier about out of that 6,500 associates nationwide, about 5,500 are level 1, and that drops quick. So if you are in a capacity to mentor and help us get those associates, those 228 across the line from level 1 to level 2, that's kind of the the breaking point there. It's one of those, if we can get them level 2, typically chances are they're going to finish the program, but it's that transition from level 1 to 2 where we see the issues. So if you're asked to mentor, I would encourage you to do so. It's beneficial for you and them. We do have 174 lifetime and retired members. And to Russ's point earlier, we have 428 members that are 50 plus. That's considered senior. In November, that will be 429 because I'll be turning 50. So I'll be looking forward to moving up on those T boxes to the seniors. So I'll be joining y'all in November. On the fundraising side of things, if you're not familiar with it, last year was the first year we did a fundraising committee. Carrie asked me to chair that along with Scott Geary. We had a goal last year of $200,000 in fundraising, raising monies, unencumbered funds. And our goal was to get some things moved out of the general operating into the foundation side to open up some of those general operating funds. And we met that goal last year. Our goal we set this year for 2024 was $350,000. We are currently just over $340,000, and we're in September, so we're well on our way to achieving that goal. A couple of things that helped with that. For the first year, we had our Play Yellow Birdie Bash, and that started out as a concept of doing one for the section. And as we got discussing it on the fundraising committee, I don't remember exactly how it came about, but there was some competition derived there between South and Chapter and North Chapter. I want to say Scott Schroeder kind of led that charge. If you know him, you know he's kind of competitive a little bit on that side. And Brandon Ville down at Sea Island, they kind of came up with, what if we do a North versus South thing? So the North Chapter had our Play Yellow Birdie Bash. It raised $165,787. Very nice funds raised there. Of that, the Atlanta Country Club team of Scott Schroeder and Tyler Hayes raised $81,320. So let's give them a round of applause. They were a top fundraiser. It was funny, I was watching the tote board like 5 minutes after he sent out the email, and it looked like our national debt ticker, those clocks you see. It just started rolling and rolling, and I was like, what is there, have we been hacked? But it was all legit. So the Atlanta Country Club, thank you for that team, Scott and Tyler. The South Chapter, we are having the Play Yellow Birdie Bash South Chapter is it October, September 24th. Currently, I just looked at the updated, it is $104,574 pledged for the South Chapter Play Yellow Birdie Bash. If you are in the South Chapter and want to get on board with that, you can see Carly or Scott Geary can get you signed up as a team. And it's very simple. The website's to get you fundraising going, social media. If you're one of those seniors that is not good with social media, talk to one of the younger folks. They can help you get on social media and get those funds raised for that. Smiling for Life, that was a foundation initiative where golf pros go into CHOA. During COVID, we had to stop that. Just wanted to throw out something there that here soon, the Arthur Blank Hospital will be opening up, and we can have more PGA pros participate in that. If you have not done that, that is a life-changing event to go participate with those kids and teach some golf lessons to some kids that are in the hospital, have a lot bigger problems than we have. So it changes lives. So if you can participate in that, I encourage you to. We had the Gene Siller Red Pant Open this year. We moved it to St. Ives. We raised $108,890 for that. 2025 will be at Atlanta Country Club. And some folks were concerned about that moving from Pine Tree. What we actually did with that, if you're not familiar with it, we signed a deal with the AJGA to honor Gene through a tournament on their calendar. And that was held at Pine Tree. It included a junior and AM program type thing the day before the tournament, where Pine Tree members, a lot of them participated in that to keep his legacy alive there. And that raised $30,000 this year for our foundation, and there was also $5,500 raised for the qualifier for that HAGA event. That event is already logged, signed to do next year for 2025, so that will be a reoccurring. So Gene's legacy actually has been split into two events to honor him and his legacy here in Georgia. And a couple of last things here. If you've not seen Doug Word, I'm sure he'll promote it here in just a little while when he comes up. He has a Google site for all kind of information for the Georgia PGA with resources for career consultant type stuff. And one of the things I'm going to promote on that is the compensation survey. If you're not familiar with it, if you go on and fill out the compensation survey saying, you know, what your salary is, it's all confidential. And the more participation we have as a section from that, the more dollars we get back from national. So that's the fundraising angle there. So if you will go on, it's simple, it took me about 3 minutes to complete the whole thing. If you can go in there and fill that out, that helps us fundraise dollars that come back to us from the national office. And then finally, the last thing I'll promote, and I'll promote it every time I'm up here, is the car tags. If you see the Georgia, Play Golf Georgia car tags, that money benefits our section, so you can promote that with your members. I've been shocked at how many of my members at Big Canoe actually have those tags. They like promoting golf, they love golf, and they can sport it on their car. And so if you can promote that, we'd appreciate it. And if you see the one in the parking lot that says FAT is the first 3 letters of it, that is, I think, Scott Gordon's tag out there, and he's the skinniest guy in the room, and he gets the FAT tag. So thank you all, and I'll turn it back to Kerry.
Thank you, Mike. When we created that the fundraising committee, I had no idea the success that that thing would have, and I'm so proud to be a part of that and getting that started, and could not be more pleased with the work that you did getting that thing started, Mike. So thank you so much for all your hard work. By the way, when we moved up to the senior tees, it turns out the guys who were good when they were 20 are still good when they're 50. So those guys are still kicking butt. So, all right, we'll bring up Josh Deal for our Vice President's and Finance report.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'll be brief here, as you'll hear from me later on today. But on the finance side, the first thing I want to do is recognize those finance committee members that are here. We've got Nick Bayless that's here, Scott Marr, if you guys will just stand and be acknowledged for your hard work. James Walden is also on the committee, and then obviously Gordon and Gary. But an honest appreciation to both of y'all for all the hard work over the last year. Thank you. Well, as the mayor pointed out, we've had a great year on the fundraising side, which obviously is dollars that drive programming, and it's part of what we do. But on the operational side, I'm happy to report through July, we're about $50,000 ahead of plan, ahead of budget for 2024. So both things need to work together in order to be successful. And so far on the fundraising side for the foundation, as well as operationally, we're operating ahead of plan and ahead of kind of our 3-year plan that we set out when we made some of these changes. I'd like to focus on a win from the committee and a goal for the committee as we finish out the year. The first win, and this may be news to some of you in the room, but at the end of 2023, the board, we moved forward with a resolution or a suggestion from the committee that we wanted to actively start putting dollars back into our reserve fund. We're happy to report right now we have over $400,000 in our reserve fund, and I think that's a pretty good place considering all that we've gone through over the last few years between moving the section office, the sale of the section office, moving into Murray Golf House, and all the things that we've gone through. However, we wanted to be proactive and say, let's get a plan together, much like we do in our personal finances, that every year we're putting money into that reserves for a rainy day fund. So we moved forward, and this is the first year our 2024 budget reflects 1%, up to 1% of our total revenues as a section, we're going to stash away and budgeting that way to put into our reserve fund. So to hear that we're 50,000 ahead and we've got 1% hopefully stashed away for the reserve fund, I feel really confident with where we are, and a lot of that is the hard work of Scott Gordon, Scott Geary, the entire section staff. So hats off to you guys. We appreciate all you do, and a round of applause again for the section staff. As we just spoke about a win for 2023, we still have a goal out there for the Finance Committee, and that evolves around the handicap dollars. So as many of you know, every year that we get a check cut from the Georgia State Golf Association for the handicap dollars that they collect. This is kind of a handshake agreement that's been around for a long time, and it's under the premise of the PGA professional is the one that administers those handicaps. We're the keeper of the handicaps. So there's a dollar amount that comes to us every year. The Finance Committee, as well as the board, feels that there's an opportunity for us to get away from including that in our budget. So that way, if we do receive it each and every year, that it's kind of a cherry on top, or it could be potentially money that goes back into the reserves as well. So we are working as a finance committee before this year is out to work with the section staff to develop a budget that does not include those handicap dollars. We do not have any inside information, but we know with the ever-evolving world of golf, those handicap dollars, who knows what that could be in 3, 5, 10 years. And just being good, prudent keepers of our finances, we don't want to rely on dollars that may or may not come in at any given time. So that is what the Finance Committee is working on, and hope to be able to update the membership as well as we move into 2025. But again, we appreciate your support. I believe the Finance Committee, we are small, but we've got some great people on there, and we're constantly looking at ways that we can evolve and improve while keeping an eye on our dollars. And so far through July, we are very pleased with where we are. So thank you again, and I'll hand it back to Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Josh. Now we'll bring up Scott Geary for our CEO report.
Thank you, Kerry. I love going after you because I got to pull the mic down so far, but appreciate it. You know, I want to start out with, if you scan the QR code, you can check out the report. But each and every year, we go to our planning session at the end of the year, and the board really takes a look at, you heard Josh talk about finance, what we were looking at with some of our strategic priorities, but we really sit down and measure out, hey, here's 4 goals we have as a section board this year. So I'm not going to go through each and every one of them, but we sort of highlight 4 categories. And the first one that has been really a strategic priority the last 4 years has been governance. And I think by looking at how packed this room is, how many candidates we have for at-large director and secretary, I'd say we're doing a pretty darn good job. And this didn't come easy. We had to rewrite all of our bylaws to do this. It's not that the bylaws themselves were bad, they were just a little helter-skelter, and we had to shore them up a bit. And so a couple years ago, we reined in a governance committee made up of some very, very intelligent people. So I do want to recognize them. One of them's here, Danny Elkins, Brian Stubbs, and Phil Berry. So they've worked very, very hard to ensure our governing documents are in a good spot. And we've followed that. We've gotten people excited. I think looking at all the candidates, all the people here, it's working well. So thank you. Education. He's not here today, but I'd be remiss not to recognize an outgoing at-large director, Russell Riddell, for all of his hard work and the Education Committee's hard work. They really work year-round to schedule webinars, but also to schedule this week and to make sure everything this week goes off without a hitch. So if you've been around all week, we definitely went a little harder in the paint this year. We had an event out at UGA, which was wonderful. We were kind of hoping that would be just a fun, you know, for those who want to be here an extra day, just come play a little 2-person scramble, and then we sold it out and needed to add teams, so that was exciting. And then we booked the room at Paloma Park Monday for about 60, maybe 70 people. And if you were there Monday night, you quickly realized that we were a little too packed for that. So they were great partners and nice and opened the doors for us. We were able to kind of spread out a little bit. And then yesterday, it's the most vendors we've ever had, not only vendor amounts in over 55, but the amount of brands represented, nearly 100 brands. So I think we're on the right track with this merchandise show. It's not perfect. This is our 3rd year. We want to keep doing it, keep having it grow. But I got a chance to go around and talk to all the vendors yesterday, and I think everybody was very, very pleased, but gave some very valuable feedback. So my ask to all of you in the room, especially if you went yesterday, is to go and tell another member, tell an associate, tell somebody at your facility about that merchandise show so that we can keep building on the momentum that we have there. I got to say thank you to the partners we've had, not only today but throughout the week. Again, for those who went to Paloma Park, you saw Firemaker. Their keg didn't last too long the last 2 days, but that's a kudos to all of you. Mobile golf events yesterday. If you got a chance to hit on the simulator, we did a fun hole-in-one, $10,000 if you hit a hole-in-one, and closest to $2,000 there. Golf Pro Payments provided the $2,000 for closest to, and one of their own staff members at looking right at him, got it. So, like I told Gord, if we don't have that check yet, just have him pay Wes directly. But did want to announce, I got a text when I was sitting up here. We had a year-long kind of contest for FireMaker, for those facilities that brought in Calamity Jane this year. The facility that sold the most Calamity Jane, FireMaker was going to pay for a team, pay for a stay and their entry fee down at the Pro Championship. So it's going to be up to the facility to decide what team that is, but happy to announce that the winning facility was Reynolds Lake Oconee for the most sales of Calamity Jane. I also want to say thank you to Sean Coach. This year, we talked for a number of years about doing another teaching and coaching summit. We did it this year at Druid Hills, just around the Masters, and I think that committee's coming together really good, and we're gonna continue to grow on that. So thank you, Sean, and thank you to the committee for continuing the good work there. Our fundraising committee, I don't need to go through everything that Mike just covered, but could not be more proud of this committee and everybody leaning in. Mike, you hit it on the head with Scott kind of set the bar pretty high, Atlanta Country Club, and Brandon wanted to get there as well. So what we have in that South Chapter Birdie Bash, we weren't expecting. And to explain that, we do have Sarah from CHOA coming up to talk about this Birdie Bash and where the dollars go. But we split that not only with our foundation, but with Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So it is going to our foundation, but it's also going to help young kids in need. And then I just want to talk about our foundation board. A couple years ago, we created this foundation board that still has representation from our PGA members. The sitting president is always president of that foundation board. We have Chad Parker as our vice chair, general manager and president at Eastlake. But it's also made up of people who maybe have a bigger reach than we do in different areas. So we've got the law area covered, we've got the insurance area, the medical area, the investment area. So we're strategically building that board to help us. And I think we're in a great spot with it. We had a third quarter foundation board meeting where we presented sort of our plans next year to go to a fundraising/endowment campaign. And that is to make sure that we can continue to grow with our foundation programs and our staffing and everything that we need to continue to do those great programs. And to be honest with you, a stronger foundation makes us a stronger section. A lot of people will ask, well, what does the foundation do for me? Well, it puts you as a staple in your community. If you're running a PGA Hope program, if you're running Junior League, if you're running Drive, Chip, and Putt, your members take notice of that. Oh, and by the way, those can put money in your pocket. So we want to keep building that. We want to do more for our members through that foundation to help our members as they continue along. For those who have been in the section a while, we've tried to do some travel pro-ams, and we've struggled a little bit. Part of that due to the fact that we get to play golf year-round, and I know everybody's busy and working, and everybody's schedules are getting busier these days. But if you were at the show yesterday, we did have a partner in Harrah's Casino up at Cherokee. Hopefully, if you were there, you got a chance to speak with them. But they couldn't be here today. They are actually supporting us in a pro-am at Sequoia next year. We're going to host it. There'll be a reception the Sunday of Ryder Cup. So you and your amateurs can come. Pretty inexpensive practice round. Rooms are pretty inexpensive. They book their rooms on their own, but we're going to do a nice reception there at the Sportsbook at Harrah's. You'll get some credit for that. And then we'll have a nice 2 days of competition on Monday and Tuesday. So I had this conversation in the boardroom the other day. If we can't get enough of our members to go up to North Carolina, a couple hours away, relatively inexpensive, and gamble, we might be out of that business. So more information will come on that, but just wanted to put it on everybody's radar that we are going to do that next year. And then lastly, I want to mention our employment committee. That was sort of our last strategic priority. Again, these aren't in any order, but really proud of the good work that Elizabeth Clarkson and Rashad Wilson have done with that employment committee with the help of Doug Wirt. We've created study halls for our associates. You heard Russ, you heard Mike talk about how vital it is for our associates to get to level 1, level 2, level 3, and to continue on. We've scheduled these study halls where it's a very low-pressure, stress-free environment. Folks can sit down. They can kind of do some of their book work. We have folks from National who log in and help answer any questions that are needed. And it's a dedicated hour or two to that. And you've got PJ members there, Class A members, to help answer questions. And proud to say I have joined the associate program as a B11. So I'm going to be going to that. Went to my first study hall. First time I've never gotten kicked out of one of those. So it was good. But really proud of the good work that's happening there. And thank you both for everything you're doing there. And then I'd be remiss not to say thank you to some folks on the board who will be rolling off. Our Assistance Division President, Tyler Hayes, will be moving on, and Matt Sanders will take his position once they have their meeting. David Potts, our North Chapter President, will be rolling off, and Chris Cartwright will be taking his position at their meeting. Russell Riddell will be rolling off as an at-large. He's not seeking re-election, so I mentioned him before, but thank you for all of his hard work. JG, you're finally rolling off. But without you, we couldn't have done a lot of what we've done. You know, there's not too many members that, with the transition that happened and with the presidents leaving early, albeit for good reasons, would have stayed on and done the work like you did. So we're very, very grateful for everything you've done. Carrie, I'm honored to call you a friend. I think our friendship has grown deeply throughout these few years. I appreciate you being the first president that hasn't left me. Really means a lot, but so proud of, and you're going to hear from Carrie later, so proud of everything that you've done personally, everything you've done for the section, how you've guided us through, you know, a transition period, and how we've come out stronger than ever. So thank you so much, and thank you all.
Okay, how many associates are here today? Do we have any associates in the room? I would love to see that number raise. And I know we have businesses that we've got to run, and it's a weekday, and we're all here as members. Most of us are, in charge at our facilities. But I've always been brought to these meetings by whoever I worked for. And to get to meet the leaders of our industry and the people who are in charge, and to be able to network that way, I think it's very vital in getting that process to move along. And so I would encourage you, everyone in this room, if you have the opportunity, to bring one, bring two, bring your associates to these meetings so that they can see how it works. They can see what this group of people means to so many others. I think it's a big part of what can really help us transition those people through the program. All right, so we're going to move into our election. I'm going to explain a little bit about what's fixing to happen. I'm going to bring up John Godwin for the election of our president and vice president. After that occurs, we'll turn it over to Mike Miller, who will serve as our parliamentarian for the remainder of the election. And so I'm excited about the slate of candidates that we have. I think it's a testament to the hard work that this board is doing. I think it's very difficult to find people who want to be part of a board that's floundering and doesn't have money to spend, but now that we're, sort of revving and roaring, I think a lot of people want to be involved, and that's exciting to me. It's exciting to the direction that we're headed. So without further ado, I'll bring up John Godwin.
All right, in the serious business now, the election process for president. Josh Deal has been nominated. At this time, I will call for a second. So noted. Josh Deal has been duly nominated and seconded for the office of president of the Georgia PGA. Per our guidelines, if a candidate is running unopposed, we will call for nominations from the floor. This is the second call from nominations from the floor. I will now make the third and final call for nominations for president. Seeing and hearing that there are no further nominations, I now declare Josh Deal to be elected as the 29th president of the Georgia PGA by acclamation for a 2-year term. Congratulations, Josh. We will begin with the election of a new vice president. Mike Miller has been nominated. At this time, I will call for a second. Duly noted. Mike Miller has been duly nominated and second for the office of vice president of the Georgia PGA. Per our guidelines, if a candidate is running unopposed, we will call from nominations from the floor. This is the second call from nominations from the floor. I now make the third and final call for nominations for Vice President. Seeing and hearing that there are no further nominations, I now declare Mike Miller to be elected as Vice President of the Georgia PGA by acclamation for a 2-year term. Mike, Mr. Vice President, the floor is yours.
All right, so we will proceed with our election of a secretary for the Georgia section. The order of presentations was drawn randomly. The candidates have been made aware of that. And the order will be Scott Marr, Elizabeth Clarkson, Rashad Wilson, Pamela Shelley Storch, and Nick Bales. It is my pleasure to announce that our newly elected secretary for the Georgia PGA is Miss Elizabeth Clarkson. Now, we need to elect 3 positions for at-large directors, and just a housekeeping measure, since Elizabeth's term is not up, the Constitution, our bylaws say that that position would be appointed by the Board of Directors. So we're still only electing 3 positions today. We're not electing for Elizabeth's current open seat that she held as an at-large director. So just a point of clarification there, make sure everybody's on the same page. So we are electing 3 positions for at-large. For those 3 positions, we have 6 candidates. And as with the secretary election, the candidates were drawn randomly for the order of presentation. So our order and candidates in the order of presentation: Jabir Bilal will be first, Glenn Escapin second, Rashad Wilson third, Nick Bales fourth, John Wade fifth, and Raymond Briggs will be sixth. And it is my pleasure to announce that our at-large director for the first seat we are filling is Mr. Nick Bayless from Country Club of the South. Alrighty, it is my pleasure to announce that our second director at large from Atlanta Athletic Club, Glenn Escapin. It is my honor to announce that our third and final at-large director position goes to Mr. Jabir Bilal. And at this point, we must do the oath of office. We're going to ask, as his final act as a board member, Mr. J.G. John Godwin will administer the oath. So anyone who was elected today, our 3 at-large directors, Josh and myself will be right down front here. If y'all will come on up, JG's going down there with us, and we're all going to take the oath.
So everyone will take the oath. It's a little awkward wording, so I'm going to break it up in spots and just kind of repeat after me. I, in your name,
I, Mike Miller,
as a member of the Board of Directors of the Georgia Section Professional Golfers Association of America,
as a member of the Board of Directors
of the Georgia Section Professional Golfers Association of America,
do hereby affirm that I shall at all times
do hereby affirm that I shall at all times
adhere to and uphold the association and sections, constitution, bylaws, rules, and regulations,
adhere to and uphold the association and sections, constitution, bylaws, rules, and regulations,
and that I shall otherwise conduct my activities
and that I shall otherwise conduct my activities
in a manner that shall be in keeping with my position
in a manner that shall be in keeping with my position
as an officer, member of the Board of Directors of the section,
as an officer, member of the Board of Directors of the section,
which shall reflect credit upon the association, the section, and its members.
which
which shall reflect credit upon the association, section, and its members.
Congratulations. The guys were kind enough to give me a few minutes to reflect on a few things and the service to you over the years. But you know, starting on Monday, it was kind of tough. I walk out on the putting green, and Kerry Brown is out there, and he goes, JG, you got a mullet, you're wearing 5-pocket pants, and you're wearing braces in front of everybody. You know what I'm thinking? Oh, man. But I'm going to tell you what, Athens has a lot more class than Auburn, Alabama. You know, and then you're trashing on me, Mike. You know, I knew your mother when you were wearing diapers and she was having a hard time finding a size that would fit you. I hope you get over that trauma. Well, anyway, I'd like to share with you what it's meant to me to be a golfer and a member of the association. I grew up the son of the starting center and middle linebacker of the Georgia Bulldogs that won the 1942 national championship. My dad loved golf, and he got me into the game at age 10. I fell in love with golf, but for kind of a funny reason. I got to wear my mother's golf shoes. They were white and brown with flaps, the metal spikes. I'm seeing Frazier laugh. With the sound that it made on the concrete was really the coolest thing in the world. Billy Weir, yes, our Billy Weir of the scholarship, introduced me as a 12-year-old at Triple C, Columbus Country Club, in my first tournament. And I shot a blistering 121, and I was hooked. I won the very first Georgia PGA Junior in a playoff with Jeff Jarrell and won a $1,000 scholarship. Now you think time has passed. You know how much that's worth today? $8,500 in 2024 dollars. And I did that on the same day that Neil Armstrong walked on the moon in July of 1969. We watched it in our hotel room in Tifton while playing at Spring Hill Country Club. You know, I got a full ride to Florida State. I wanted to go to Georgia, but Copas wouldn't recruit me. Where my college roommate lost in the finals of the USAM our senior year, and where the football team went 0-12. We're off to a reminiscent start, 0-2 this year, 50 years later. I got my first job in the business because of Dan Murphy, a former section president, who got me a cartboy job at Dorado Beach in Puerto Rico. We all played with Chi-Chi in the afternoon when he was in town. And he never lost a bet with us, always giving it back in tips the next day. It taught me to always tip the cart guys wherever I went, no matter what. I got my first head job in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I lived there for 15 years. I was honored as the Rocky Mountain Section Teacher and Player of the Year while there. And if you've never been to Jackson and seen the Tetons, make it a bucket list experience, and then think of me for giving you the best advice of your life. Don't die without seeing the most magical mountain range in the world. I've been lucky. I've traveled the world. I've played on 6 of the 7 continents except Antarctica, developing professional relationships with some of the greats of our game, like Billy Casper and Peter Thompson and Byron Nelson and Payne Stewart, and rooming him while he was playing the harmonica, and I stole it from him, and he thought the maid took it. And spending the afternoon with my childhood hero, Arnold Palmer, in Jackson Hole on a beautiful summer day, these memories will forever be burned into my mind. You know, I got to play in 2 PGA championships and 2 senior PGAs and a senior US Open, 12 PNCs and 7 senior PNCs, and I won the Georgia match play. I played in 7 Australian Opens, the Indian Open, Japan Open, the Philippine Open, and I won probably the coolest state open in America, the Alaska Open. We had 12 players. No, it was more than that. I was honored to receive the National Junior Golf Leader Award for my work with U.S. Kids Golf and Godwin Creek Golf Course as my career transitioned into player development. I earned my master professional status in 1995, becoming the 147th member to do so. I was lucky enough to coach a young 12-year-old girl starting out in the game, where she ended up winning the state high school championship, a national championship at Georgia. She made the Curtis Cup team. She was low-am in the Women's U.S. Open and played 7 years on the LPGA Tour. She got her ring at halftime of a football game Between the Hedges, where I got to stand with her. Really an emotional day for me to see Angela German receive that. She's married to, she goes, Angela German Ormsby, married to Todd Ormsby, sitting in the back. Way to go. Boy, you won the lottery there. But none of those experiences matched the experiences I've had serving in our section's governance for the last 15 years. You guys think it's like 150. The last 4 really being incredible. I first served you as an at-large director for 2 terms, beginning in 2009, and I was elected secretary in 2014. My first national meeting had then citizen Donald Trump as our keynote speaker in Indianapolis, only to be in New York City for my 3rd national meeting the night he was elected president, a few blocks from Trump Tower. I saw Susie Whaley be elected our first female PGA president the year before. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be involved in our section's evolution during my tenure, from committing $250,000 to the Bobby Jones Project, ensuring our new section offices, selling our former office building, and with Brian Albertson's leadership, naming the golf shop there in honor of Ed Horde. Brian Albertson did an unbelievable job as our section president. Then the transition in our executive director search, having 2 section presidents leave us while in office, really creating a mess. It's kind of similar to missing 18 greens in a row and having to get it up and down all day, every day to make a par and not having a clue how to do it. But as mentioned before, Danny Elkins and Brian Stubbs stepped up and read every word of the bylaws and Constitution, poring over it for literally hundreds of hours. None of us would ever sign up to do that. And if you really want to go to sleep, read our Constitution or bylaws, trying to understand the difference between shall and thee and it and who. An unbelievable job. It would have never happened without you. All these experiences have really taught me this. Nothing of any value is easy to accomplish. Learning to love adversity is a great character trait to develop. If you don't love what you do, it gets old really, really fast. And I think a lot of us have felt that. It's important for all of us to play golf, even jump out for 3 holes or 6 holes or 9, or hit balls, putt, chip, stay connected with the game. And here's one. No bitching on the yacht. Someone else would love to be in your boat. Happiness is a choice. How you make someone feel gives them a glimpse of who you are. Knowing when someone needs a pat on the back or a kick in the butt defines a great coach or leader. With youth, rules without a relationship leads to rebellion. And this is a big one. Screen time is killing our youth. Millennials and Generation Z leaders, those of you sitting here today, along with parents, have a tremendous challenge ahead of you, turning that battleship in the right direction. We're all addicted to the screen. It's something that we've got to get a grip on. At times, it seems impossible as I watch the world buried in a phone and not talking with each other. I can promise you the men and women you elect for our section's governance that you saw take the oath here, take it very seriously. It's a big responsibility to preserve our history, nurture and grow our game in these changing times, and do it as a volunteer. players, teachers, merchandisers, and administrators doing what they love each day and every day. The reward for all of us is to leave it better than we found it. I can't imagine my life without being a PGA member and the opportunities that it has provided me. I'm really, really grateful for this opportunity. Personally, I'm also grateful that this stage of my life, I married my childhood sweetheart. I took her to the prom in 1974, Karen Benson. I started golf with an old cut, beat up, outer round Balata golf ball. Some of you young guys have no idea how much that ball would curve. If you didn't hit it exactly right, you were looking for it. So I hope I've left you a dozen new Titleists that really don't curve much. It's been an honor to serve you. Thank you for the ride and the friendships. And may God bless the Georgia PGA.
Our first person to come up and present is going to be Sarah Schmidt from Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Some people call that CHOA. And talk to us a little bit about how the foundation interacts with them. So, Sarah.
Hello, everyone. Like Mike said, I am Sarah Schmidt, and I am from Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. I'm a senior foundation program coordinator, and I work directly with Carly, Jordan, and the wonderful Georgia section staff. So just going to kind of go through what you all do to support us as your local hospital and what all you can do for us, okay? Just a few things, like I said. You all do fall under our Play Yellow program, which is our golf program, thanks to Children's Miracle Network Hospitals and the wonderful resources that they provide us. So you guys have recently helped us activate what is called Birdie Bash. Back in the spring, we had a wonderful event, so I'm going to show you all a little bit about that. Okay, first we're going to watch a little video about Eli. He's one of our miracle kids for this year. He has a great story, and we love to share moments about our patients.
Eli was very playful and would run around playing with siblings and just did normal 3-year-old, 4-year-old things. And as a parent, you look at your child and you think, this is what we're going to be doing, this is what you should be expecting from a 4-year-old. He'll be going into preschool, but all in one day, 1 week, one moment, your whole idea of what's next is redefined and unknown. When Eli was 4, he had just fallen on his knees and started having a seizure, and they just started coming one right after the other. We went to Children's Emergency Room, and as one of the neuro-attendings was walking into the room, he had an epileptic episode in front of her, and she said, yeah, absolutely, we're going to get you admitted, and that was scary. While they're still doing their diagnostics, while they're still trying to learn what would be the appropriate medication to satisfy and quell those seizures, you feel very helpless. Everything's upended and everything is different. You don't know what your life's going to look like.
Eli has what we call focal cortical dysplasia on the right side of the brain. This is a disorganization of a portion of the brain. So you have cells that's in the wrong place, that's not connecting correctly to their neighbors. So the seizure was originating in that portion of the brain.
We went through some evaluation with some behavioral psychologists, and they were really starting to look at the possibility of surgery, and felt that with Eli's age and the location of the lesion, that he would be a solid candidate. So April 12th, 2018 is when Eli had his craniotomy.
I remember it was really difficult. I had to relearn how to walk and all that. I remember after surgery, my dad visited. He would play like matching games with me, and he would tell me to use your left hand. Whenever my dad did that, I could move my arm more.
High five.
The hardest part of the entire journey is you don't know if you're going to get off the exit ramp. April 6, 2021, my husband passed away. He had put the kids to bed, everything seemed normal, and he had a massive heart attack. Death will change anybody's life. Losing a parent at that age, it isn't fair. But that's not our story. Our story is resiliency, and our story is hope. It built my faith to see just the overall peace that he had kind of going through it. And he's just an overcomer, you know? And 5 years behind us in seeing that we did get off that exit ramp. You know, he is seizure-free still, and he is medicinally free. It feels like the biggest gift. Eli's life now, I would say, is as close to what his father and I would have expected to see for our 10-year-old son. He plays football. We are in the crux of the start of wrestling season. He's got aspirations to start baseball in the spring. He's made the honor roll. The last couple of years, he mentors other children that have been impacted by loss. And I would say that that is a result of the concentrated focus on getting Eli well. And that is the hope, the redundant theme of hope that comes through the doors of children's healthcare. This is where we wanted to be. Thank God this is where we're sitting. I absolutely believe he is a walking miracle.
So that's Eli's story. He's a wonderful little kid. His mom's incredible. She's, willing to support Eli in all of his endeavors. He actually was at one of our events a couple of weeks ago, representing our new hospital that's being opened over off of 85 in North Druid Hills in Brookhaven. Arthur M. Blank Hospital, I'll talk about here in a minute, but a wonderful event that we put together for everyone to come in, get a peek at what this wonderful building is and how it's going to support Georgia's children for many, many decades to come. Michael and the team were able to come as well, and Eli was there having a ball in the zone, which is an activity area for kids to just kind of go and escape. We have 2 putting greens down there, and he spent the entire 2 hours on the putting green. So I'd love for Eli to come to the next event that I'm at, so you all can meet Eli, maybe convince him to be a Georgia Section member one day. So a little bit more about what I do. We are a Children's Miracle Network hospital. What that means is it just gives us access to so much more. Like here I am today. I wouldn't be here today if we weren't a Children's Miracle Network hospital. There are 170 member hospitals that have been around since the mid-1900s. This is our mission. Just like you guys have a mission, we do too. So we like to say we want to make kids better today and healthier tomorrow. A little bit about us as a hospital. We have 3 hospital locations right now, a couple of neighborhood locations, urgent cares, and then we have our new hospital opening. This is Arthur M. Blank Hospital. Those are real life photos of what it looks like today from the event a couple of weeks ago. So that is opening September 29th, a little less than 3 weeks away, and we're really, really excited. It's a great space that hopefully some of you can actually see too. Play Yellow, as I mentioned earlier, that encompasses, like I said, that golf aspect of our hospital and the community involvement golf aspect of our hospital. So started by Jack and Barbara Nicholas. Play Yellow was inspired by a friend of his from childhood that had a rare form of cancer, and he would wear yellow on his final round of all of the tournaments he played in, inspired by that friend of his. So that's where Play Yellow came from. Now to talk a little bit about Birdie Bash. Like I said, back in April, Carly and I hosted a wonderful Birdie Bash with Nick over at Country Club of the South, and what a day it was. 72 holes where members try to make as many birdies as possible, and leading up to the event, we asked that you collect donations, pledges, So that way when you play the day of, those donations and pledges rack up as the birdies are made. It's a fun day. Carly and I were running all over the place trying to collect scorecards. Scott was there. I mean, everybody was there, and it was a grand old time. That's mainly how we raise funds through Play Yellow, through different golf events, different golf partners such as PGA Tour Superstore, and many other things. Here are a few pictures from the day. It was hard to pick just a few, but it was a fun day. Like I said, one of our patients, Noe, and her siblings, as well as her mom, got to join in on the fun, and I think they destroyed the green on 18 because they had a dance party in between groups coming through. But it was a joyous day, and we raised a lot of funds for both PGA Reach and Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. So now we get to save the date and make the grand announcement for Birdie Bash 2025. We look to host it at the Standard Club, April 21st of 2025, and we are really excited. So if you are interested in participating or maybe have a member that wants to sponsor the event, please let me or Carly know, or Jordan. We look forward to a fun year. Thank y'all.
We will ask Doug Wirt, PGA Career Consultant, to come up for a few minutes. Tell us what he does, and I encourage you to go check out his Google page. It is a plethora, there's my Scrabble word of the day, plethora of information for Georgia PGA, including that compensation survey that if you fill that out, that helps us with money coming back from the national office.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. First thing I want to do is put a plug in for CHOA and the Smiling for Life program. It's where we as golf professionals get the opportunity to actually go to the hospital and see the kids and work with them at the hospital there with SNAG. We go inside, outside, and work with the kids. I've had the opportunity and the pleasure of going multiple times, and I leave every time feeling energized and fulfilled and knowing that I've had a great time with those kids. So I want to encourage you to participate in Smiling for Life as well and get out there with those kids, and it's just been a great time. So one of the things I want to share with you today, first of all, it's been a great year. I'm now 15 months into this position, and it's been a true pleasure serving in this role and helping all of you. But I wanted today to cover a little bit about PGA ExecuSearch. Yes, this is our fee-based search services that we provide to you as PGA members and to your employers. But what makes us different than other search firms that are out there is, first of all, you look at the PGA of America, we're a nonprofit organization. We have the goal of building lifelong partnerships with all of you as PGA members, as well as the employers that we serve in PGA ExecuSearch and Career Services. And so we want to help and support and sustain, the golf business as well as the hospitality industry. I want you to remember, we're a dedicated team of 25 consultants around the country, PGA consultants that work hard to serve PGA members on a daily basis. And one of the things about all of us is that we all have the local market knowledge and relationships that we've built within that market. We have the expertise and experience in all areas of club operations. When you look at our team, we are all experienced in many different areas within our business and our industry, and we have strong backgrounds in all of that. And then, also we get to work with a global network when we do these searches. So we're working with the Club Managers Association, the National Golf Course Owners Association, the Superintendents Association, as well as the PGA of America and the LPGA, and at times too the PGA Tour. And we want to be that lifetime partner and resource for continued success for all the operations across the country. And I want to do that for all of you here in Georgia. And the biggest thing about all of this is we do it as a team, especially when we do our ExecuSearch services or our advanced search services. We're working as a team for you in those search processes. And one of the things I want to share with you that we have changed this year is now when an ExecuSearch is done and completed, whatever the fee that is charged to the facility for those services, a percentage of that is now coming back to the section. So we're supporting the section through our executive search services that we provide in the PGA of America. So I want you to remember that. You can go to Executive Search, PGAExecutiveSearch.com to learn more. Also want to let you know that you hear of any of those opportunities, to please just reach out to me immediately, and we'll get a proposal to the employer to help them understand what we can provide and how we can help them with their next search. A few notable searches that are going on right now in the section. Dunwoody Country Club for Director of Golf is currently being done. Jim West and I are partnering on that, as well as Scott Kimmick, who is our Managing Director of PGA Executive Search Services now. Instructor opportunities at Golf House Academy, which is an indoor facility in the Druid Hills area. Valdosta Country Club assistant. And then the other thing I want to share with you is that we're branching out from your non-traditional roles in the golf business to help with searches. Through a connection I have with a family member, I got introduced to Goodwill of West Georgia. They're based in Augusta as well as in Macon. And then they have what is called Helms College, which is a culinary hospitality school. And I had the opportunity to go meet with them, and from that meeting, we are now conducting 2 searches for them. Senior Vice President of Hospitality for the university in Edgar's, as well as the General Manager for the Pinnacle Club, which is a club they own in Augusta that's on the top floor of one of the buildings. It's a nice membership dining club there in Augusta. As well as in Frederica, we're now working with them for their Director of Food and Beverage. And I'll even share with you the Ledges up in Huntsville, Alabama. We're currently conducting a search for their head chef. So just want to let you know that we've branched out with our services when it comes to executive service and providing that to many different organizations now. Just to kind of summarize, from September last year to now, you can see the number of searches there, but the main thing I wanted to share with you, in those searches that we filled this year, close to $500,000 in increase in compensation that we have provided to those professionals, those that have taken those jobs. And we've done that through having the compensation data that my partner there, Mike, has talked about so much, that we have that compensation data. We use that when we conduct searches to help employers see and make sure that they're in the market when it comes to the pricing and the salaries and such that they're providing to those that they're hiring. So that's quite a goal, and that's just in the section of Georgia, so that you understand that. Okay, and so what I ask you to do is that you continue to work hard to update your compensation profile on a regular basis. If you have not done this, I need you to do that today. Please, it takes you 2 to 3 minutes, like Mike has said. If you haven't done it, I want to see your phone up and scan that QR code there for me and get that information so that you can do that. So please continue to help us with that so that we can help you more. Use that data as well to help those of you that are negotiating contracts and need to know what's going on in the market when it comes to your compensation, and have been very successful in doing that as well. So please take the time to complete that compensation survey. Just in closing, it's been a great year. Thank you so much for all of you that have been so welcoming, and I want to thank the board and the staff. It's just, they do an amazing job for you, and it's great to be part of that team. I also want to thank Lauren and Matt, my teammates at the PGA of America, for all that they do in player engagement and recruiting. And Russ, thank you too for your service. It's been a pleasure. But Mike mentioned my Google site, which is all the employment stuff that's in there for you. So I asked you to scan that QR code there so you can go to my Google site and learn more. There is a plethora of information there for you. So thank you so much. It's a wonderful opportunity to serve all of you. Have a good day.
Now it's there. We'll ask Lauren Court to come up from Player Engagement.
Yeah, still morning. Good morning. My name's Lauren Court Lasbria. Lauren Court works too. We're still getting used to that new name 2 months in. Still going strong. Just wanted to start off today giving Doug Word a huge thank you. I don't know how many of you know, but Doug, for a couple of months there, was pulling double duty as both your career consultant and your player engagement consultant. So Doug, thank you for all that you've done for the section and for still staying on and helping me as I take over the Georgia section. So thank you so, so much. I am your player engagement consultant. I've been with the PGA for 7 years. I have pretty much all of District 13, so I have North Florida, South Florida, and now Georgia. I actually grew up here in Gwinnett County, so kind of coming back home for me. Actually grew up playing in your section junior tour. So this section really fostered my love of the game. Been involved in the game since really high school, and then ended up playing at Georgia State for 4 years. I got my degree in marketing and then my master's in sports administration. Started with the company that started our PGA Junior League program, and then moved down to Florida to start with the PGA as their player engagement consultant for North and South Florida. Got a short recap for you, as you can see, with all of our player engagement initiatives, but really today just wanted you to be able to put a face to a name as I become a part of your section and your player engagement consultant and an associate. So part of that level 1 crew. Russ, I promise I will make it to level 2. We've had a great year as a section. This year's strategic funding was based around the programs that the section held for PGA Junior League. We are now at 149, so we're one program away, and we'll have that done for strategic funding, and then you can see the Game Changer members. So with Junior League, there is a membership. So the kids pay that one-time annual fee, and then they can participate in as many seasons as possible. So the Game Changer membership is that unique registrations. So those are unique players participating. And then registrations, you'll see an increased number as we have so many great professionals hosting multiple programs throughout the year and really getting those kids engaged year-round with year-round programming. I had a great time on the panel yesterday with Pamela, Austin, Russ, and Chris. So thank you all for inviting me to be a part of that. And if you missed it, I think it was recorded. So we talked a lot about family fun and getting people involved at the golf course and shared a lot of best practices. I can also assist you with PGA Family Golf if you're ever interested in getting involved in PGA Family Golf. And then most of all, PGA Coach. So if you're not familiar with PGA Coach, would really encourage you to just take a look at that. PGA.coach is the website. You can build out a coach profile, which is great for marketing. It's a booking tool, and it's completely available for you as a member for free. Just starting to test out some video stuff with PGA Coach as well. Anybody in need of PDRs? Maybe. PGA Coach has a lot of great trainings with a lot of great PDR opportunities. And then in addition to that, if you are involved in any of those programs, please make sure you're submitting your deferred compensation. A lot of amazing opportunities for deferred compensation if you're involved in player engagement. So that was my brief recap for all of you, and just wanted to introduce myself, make sure you're familiar with the name as I start reaching out to all of you and making my way around the section. So if you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm up here frequently. I am based in South Florida, but love to come up and meet with all of you. So thank you so much, and I look forward to working with all of y'all.
Counting those, we will ask Matt Heiner, our PGA Recruiting and Member Engagement Specialist, to come up for a short presentation.
Good morning, everybody. I think this is on. Thank you guys for having me. My name is Matt Heiner. I'm your recruiting specialist for the Georgia section. I also oversee Tennessee, Gulf States, Alabama, Northwest Florida, North and South Florida as well. So a lot of travel around the South for me there. But I am currently living in Nashville, Tennessee, by way of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. So this feels a little bit like enemy territory as a Buckeye fan. So you're welcome for that missed field goal a couple years ago. Growing up, I played baseball my entire life. I thought I wanted to be a professional baseball player. That's really what I wanted to do, and then picked up my first golf club when I was 12 years old. That's really all she wrote from there. Fell in love with the game, and I wanted to be a golf professional. Started working at my local golf course when I was 14. Worked my way up into the pro shop, working with my PGA pro, Scott Jones, who I consider a second father still to this day. He guided me in a little bit of a different direction at that time. So I always like to say, if I had this resource, back in 2009, it might have been a little bit different career path for me from there, but just submitted my associate application on Friday, so hoping to hear back on that there soon. So appreciate you guys having me here today. I'll go over just a few. I hope this is working. It says it's on, Michael, sorry. All right, just a few updates on my side. So we've heard a lot of good numbers, a lot of good information from the people that you've heard from already today. But just so you can kind of see what we do on our side for the recruiting team, we travel around the country attending events, talking to youth players, high school players, college players, those that are looking for a second career change. That's our main focus is our event attendance, making sure that we're getting in front of the public. While Doug Wirt, Lauren are very important for our member-facing team, we're interacting with the general public for the most part. So our goal is to get more PGA members. So we do that through a couple of routes: industry awareness, direct recruiting events, as well as connecting job seekers with those opportunities, whether that's at the green grass level, whether that's with Titleist, if they have an opportunity for you to work on the manufacturing side there too. Anywhere that we can help a PGA member going from there. So, working through some of our event attendance, there's a lot that we go to. There's a lot that we would like to go to as well. So if there's opportunities for us to help your facilities, I definitely encourage you to utilize us. We also do a lot of outreach to those that are just beginning the PGM program. You'll see PQ and QE all over the place. So those are acronyms for pre-qualifier and qualifier eligible. Those are basically just folks that have signed up for the program, are not yet in level 1. And whenever they complete that, they're looking to get into level 1 from there. So providing some support to our qualifying level candidates. Just some numbers that you can compare from 2023 to this year. We've got 67% increase in our PQ to associate registration, which is awesome to see. That's great traction, but we want to see that compare and improve as we move forward. 13,000 impressions as well. That's 24% above what we've done last year for 2023. And then for our level 1 registrations, we're up plus 6% for last year. Job placements as well. We've got 133 job placements so far. So those are folks that we've placed directly in green grass opportunities or somewhere within the industry. That's 32% above from 2023 as well. And obviously, like I said, there's endless opportunities for us to connect with the public. So if you're looking for us to come on site, hang out at a golf tournament, talk with the players, talk with the parents, that's really what we're there to do. Next slide here. So just a recap for Georgia for this year specifically for 2024. We've attended 4 events total. 3 of those are direct recruiting events, and one of those is an awareness event that is focusing on youth players as well. 956 impressions, so those are 956 conversations that we've had with folks within the Georgia section, and then 111 leads. So those are folks that have raised their hand, expressed interest in either PGA membership or working in golf in some capacity. So those are the folks that we really try to, quote unquote, keep warm and make sure that we're interacting with as much as possible, and hopefully getting some more PGA members from there as well. For your section specifically, we've got 45 candidates that are currently in the qualifying level, and then 65 of those candidates have completed their qualifying coursework. So those are 65 folks that are ready to move into level 1 and start their journey as an associate or an affiliate. Fall brings a little bit more of a change in our schedule. Summer is definitely more of an awareness focus for us specifically. Fall, obviously golf seasons are in full swing, so high school, college tournaments, events like this, wherever we're able to interact with players, those that are even interested in golf in any form or fashion, that's really what we're looking to do as well. For some resources for you guys, we do also operate a recruiting site. I'm going to guess it's not as robust and as many plethoras as Doug's, but there's a lot of great information on there if you guys are looking for some resources to lean on. Marketing materials, speaking points for events that you might hold at your facilities, partnerships that we work with. For Hire is a big one that we have a very big focus with on getting more women involved in the game of golf, working in the industry as well. And then some reports that you guys can also utilize as well. So just a map for our territories here, just so you get a breakdown of who oversees what part of the country. And obviously you guys can lean on me as much as you might need to, moving forward from there. But I also encourage you, like I said, if you do have questions, if you do see some value in having us come attend your events, work with your facilities, if there's any way that we can help out, we would love to do that. So I got some contact info up there for you. If you want to scan the QR code, that'll give you my cell phone as well. Feel free to text me. Or if you have questions, come up and chat afterwards. I'm all ears and looking to see what you guys have going on at your facilities too. So other than that, thank you guys for having me.
I'm going to ask one of our PGA members up. You saw him last night at Paloma Park, Brett Gorney, just to share a little bit of information about Servantee and mobile golf events.
Hey, everybody. Thanks again for letting us be out here, Scott, with the golf simulators, with mobile golf events. You all saw that last night and at the show who were there, but we do have we're starting to break more into doing member events for y'all, and so we have some PGA member special rates for you guys because we see it as an opportunity to be in front of a bunch of country club golfers. But if you're hosting a member or member guest, I know Patrick La Rotunda, I saw you here. He had us come out to their member guest. We can bring out a couple simulators, and just like you have your flighted events, we can do like team best ball closest to the pin competitions. We can also do team little scrambles, playing amen corner, different great golf courses. But it's a great way to spruce up your member guest, member events on those men's stag nights or things like that. So if you're interested in that, just reach out to me. You can find me on the website. Mobilegolfevents.net is our site. Servantee also is a little passion project that God inspired in my heart. It's been going since 2018. But it's a nonprofit that inspires golfers to live purposely, empowered by faith, relationships, and servant leadership. And we do a couple things. Our sort of witty invention, as a mentor told me, is our golfer mission trips. And we're going to be working with Scott and PGA Hope to take some veteran golfers down to a new project we have going in El Salvador. It's going to be a really cool opportunity to play some golf together. We use golf as the glue to bring people together, build relationships, but then they'll get an opportunity to help one of our partners I've been serving down in El Salvador since 2014 to build a big renovation on a new property they bought, and then build a new Hope Center and church for some youth down in El Salvador. We also partner with Lighthouse Family Retreat, which Patrick's wife is a part of. And those we have another one of those. We did that this year. We get to go to Sea Island, and Brandon graciously lets us come out to play Sea Island when we're down there. But you get to serve families living through childhood cancer, and that's in partnership with Lighthouse Family Retreat. Many of you remember the event that Billy Jack used to host at St. Ives. An amazing organization, obviously with our ties with CHOA. It's a great opportunity for you to serve as a family together. You get paired to serve another family that's living through childhood cancer. And so great opportunity there. We're also, we've got trips planned, and I know it takes time. These international trips, you do go away for about a week to 8 days, but we get to play some great golf. We've got some stuff coming online to Guatemala in partnership with Thrive Farmers Coffee. They do Chick-fil-A's coffee, but I love coffee, so that's a great partnership. We get to play some cool golf courses in Guatemala City. And then also there's a long haul if anybody's interested. In February, we're going to Cambodia to the guy that actually makes our simulator enclosures. He's partnered with a group down there, and we're going to do a long haul. But anyways, some cool opportunities for you to give back and use golf as a tool for relational building as well as serving others. I'd love for you guys to reach out if you're interested in all that. Thanks again.
Mike McCollum, I hear you have some words.
Thanks for a moment, stand up here. A little selfish. Is anybody here that does not know about the Weir Foundation? So I can expect you all go back to your clubs, find some employees that are graduating seniors this year, or children of employees that are graduating seniors this year. Encourage them to apply for a Weir Scholarship. We've completed our 18th year. We've had 28 scholarship recipients. I had lunch with one at Piedmont University yesterday. We've given out in excess of $3 million in scholarships in 18 years. It is real. It's not easy to get the scholarship, but you can't get it if you don't apply. So please go back to your school, back to your facilities, and encourage anyone that's eligible. Take a look at that, and I'll look forward to seeing some of those applications. Thank you.
All right. Before we head off to lunch here, first and foremost, JG, again, thank you so much. Hearing your wisdom and experience that you've shared over the last few years, just being in that room is has been all the worth the time, and we wish you well in the next chapter for sure. And we also want to again congratulate and thank our now honorary president, Kerry Brown, and newly elected district director. We do have a gift for you, sir.
Well, I promised myself I wouldn't get emotional. You know, the last two presidents, they could barely, as they exited, get through these speeches without crying. And, you know, I didn't think that it was going to be that way for me, but I'm going to try to do my best. You know, it's fitting that I think it was on purpose that we ended an Auburn man's career here in Athens. You know, I get the hives every time I get close to this county, and it's been a great host, though, everybody being here. 120 people here today. I think that's awesome. Up quite a bit from last year, so I think we found a good spot here. And all the merchandisers who were here yesterday, it was fantastic. I had a great conversation with Billy Jack. He wants us to give a great message to our friends and our colleagues. You know, we got to get them here. You know, these people show up, they pay for those booths. They're here to support us. We should be supporting them. I mean, this is the greatest fraternity sorority in the world, and we need to find more opportunities to get together and to celebrate that and to support the people who support us. So I would encourage you to go back, talk to your friends and colleagues, and encourage them to be here and to participate. You know, when I got into governance, it was because I just wanted to be in the room. I thought it was so cool. He doesn't know I'm going to say this, but Danny was just so cool to me, and to be able to walk up to him. I used to just figure out what I could say to him so I could be in the room with Danny and Brian Stubbs and JG. We used to talk about Braves baseball, and that was kind of my in. I would always go to Danny and say, hey, what do you think about the team this year? But it was really just an excuse to get next to him because I thought it was so cool. You know, his presence in our section for how many years? I mean, it's just countless, and he means so much to us. He's a treasure. Thank you, Danny, for everything you've ever done. You know, thank you to the staff. They work tirelessly to put these things on. It's always just so professionally run, and they do a great job. You know, as I reflect back, I came into this position during COVID. Man, how many things have changed since then. Also, just very humbled to be here and the timing of everything. You know, I'd just been diagnosed with a grade 4 glioma, brain cancer, when we were down at the PGA show. And Brandon Stooksbury and Brian Conley pulled me aside, and they said, hey, we want you to come be a part of this ride. There's a lot of changes that are fixing to happen, and we know your vision is similar to ours. And I said, guys, you know, I don't know what tomorrow brings, much less what's going to happen in the next 6 to 8 years. And they said, which I never will forget, that a little bit of me would be better than none. And that meant the world to me. You know, as we leave this office and hand it over, we're in such great position. $1.4 million in our foundation. It's insane. $700,000 in reserves and operating dollars. $1.3 million in our pension. I think we're in good hands. And that's just because of the tireless work of Scott Gary and the staff and what they're doing. And the vision, the forward thinking that we've been able to have. Fundraising committee, the hard work of us being out there telling our story, making some of these people get why the foundation is so important and letting them understand. Backroom conversations with guys like Brandon Veal to where the light bulb goes off and he goes, oh my gosh, I got to get involved. I got to participate. I got to do more. Inspirational conversations, Scott Schroeder hyping people up at the awards banquet. If you weren't fired up coming out of that night, I don't know if you have a heartbeat. These professionals that we get to interact with every day, it just creates such an energy and so much camaraderie. I just feel blessed to be a part of it. You know, I've held every chair possible at the division, chapter, section level. Super excited to be on the national board now, going into District 13. getting to spend some good time with relatively new friend. I've known him for many years, but we're really starting to get to know each other, and I can't wait to learn from you, Russ, to be in the room, to observe. Hopefully do a great job for you guys at the national level. You know, so many things have been created during my tenure. This merchandise show, meeting, co-branding with Reach, pulling junior golf underneath the foundation umbrella to help raise money for that, creating that ability for that to be a tax-free donation. Who doesn't want to give to junior golf? But it was so hard when it was on its own entity under operations because we couldn't figure that out. Now we have that avenue. You know, we just continue to strive to break free of those handicap, license plate, and qualifier dollars. COVID taught us that lesson. You know, we were so fortunate in Georgia that they decided to have those 2 qualifiers that year that COVID struck, but there were many sections that were unable to do that, and they lost those dollars, and that hit them hard. And so now I feel like we're on the precipice of being able to not have to even include those dollars in our operation, and that's just huge for us as a section. You know, I think tournament venues, prize money, continually raised, those things have all happened, and it's just such a pleasure for me to be able to be in the room and to be a part of that. So I'll leave you with, you know, just humble thanks for letting me be a part of the ride. 4 years as your president, and it all had to kind of work out to where I was standing here right now and have the opportunity to be your District 13 elect. You know, if the timing hadn't worked out, I would actually be just coming into my presidency right now, I believe. And to see me standing here now, exiting at this time, it's special. So thank you guys for everything you do for me. I love getting to know you guys, to being in the room, meeting new people, being a member. It's important. Mentor your associates, mentor your fellow professionals, help get them in the room. Thank you.
All right, welcome back. Time for some remarks here. I will say some of the wind was taken out of my sail. There's a lot of thank yous going on this morning, which is great, and a lot of celebration of some wins for the section. But I wanted to kind of double back into that. Over the last month or so, I've been asked a lot of questions from friends and peers in this room saying, "Are you ready? Are you excited?" And I answered that today and answered it last night. Not only am I excited for where we are and where we're going, but I feel that this is a great time to transition Kerry into his role, moving in as district director, representing the 3 sections, but being the face of Georgia is important, and rolling into big shoes to fill. I'm grateful. And with that, I want to take some time to extend some gratitude. An old friend once told me you can't be anxious and gracious at the same time, so I'm going to try my best to practice some gratitude here. I want to start with those that were not only elected today, but also were brave enough to raise their hand and come up on stage and offer their support for this section. That's no easy thing. There's several of us in here that have done it, and I know that that's not easy to expose yourself, throw yourself out there, and to sometimes hear no. So for those that weren't elected today, I encourage you to get involved, stay involved. We still need you, right? And for those that were elected, we're very proud to have you. We've got a great group of people, and we're going to go great places with you. As I look at the executive officers and where we've been, JG, that speech earlier was fantastic. Again, I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. Your wisdom in that room has been valued. We appreciate you. To the mayor, I look forward to working alongside with you. The last 2 years, I think you provide just great wisdom and knowledge with your previous experiences, and your journey into golf, I think, is great. So your voice in the room is valuable as well. Kerry, we've all said you did a wonderful job managing this group and taking us through some turbulent times, and I think we all feel pretty proud of where we are today, and we wish you continued success. To the section staff, we can't thank them enough. I mean, the officers, the board members, those are volunteer positions. We've got full-time job. The people that are doing the blocking and tackling every day for our section are the people that are back here in the back of the room. So I will pause there and give them a round of applause. You know, to the membership as a whole, I think this is a really cool process. I think we've got some great people to lead us going forward. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you taking this very seriously and understanding that these leaders that we elect are in the boardroom making decisions that impact our membership. You know, me personally, I never imagined to be a PGA professional. I graduated from the University of Connecticut, was enrolled at Providence College to become a high school history teacher. Thank God that didn't work out. I don't think I have the patience for it. But nevertheless, golf found me where I was, and it's brought me where I am today. I think about the game, and as a whole, the lessons that are learned through this great game, the places that we've all been enjoying this game, the people and relationships that have been fostered through this game of golf, it's really unbelievable. It's powerful. I think about the game as an instrument and what it does to move change. I think about programs like Hope. I think about Junior League. I think about Family Cup. The way that we use this game of golf to make a change in our communities, in our section, in the world it's unbelievable. We've said it a lot. Nobody gives back more than golf, and that's not just the PGA Professional. That's through the charitable outings we host, the donations that we all write each and every day to give back so we can raise money and funds for great causes. So I think about this game and what it's meant to me, but I think of what it's meant to other people. So I don't take it lightly as we sit here today. As we sit here today, we've celebrated a lot of successes over the last few years, certainly during my time on the board. I think we've got great direction. I think we have great leadership, but the job is not done. As we know, the ecosystem of golf right now is a bit unstable. There's many questions out there, far outweighing just tours and money and dollars, right? There's real questions of whether it be the rollback or the economy or elections. There's a lot of things that are still ahead. And as we look in the rear view 4 years ago, we were in the midst of a pandemic that nobody knew was coming. So as we go forward, we must be proactive. And I look forward to doing that with this group here today. So again, I thank you. I thank all of you for your support, continued support as we go forward. You know, we're proud of where we are, and we're excited for where we're going. So thank you. At this point, we'll move to the formal portion of the meeting. Seeing as we have no unfinished business, we will move on to new business. Today, we're going to have an introduction of a proposed addition to the Constitution. We're going to have a vote by a show of hands for a change to the Constitution. This is an addition. This addition was submitted by the Board of Directors, and it's to add a section to include an inclusion language to mirror the PGA of America's Constitution. I believe we have it up here on the screens. Yes. Okay. So this will be in the relevant section, Article 1. This will be proposed Section 4, and I'll read. The Georgia PGA affirms its love for golf by promoting the game and inviting everyone, embracing all dimensions of diversity. This includes individuals with diversity of thought, culture, race, and ethnic background, gender, age, religion, politics, sexual orientation, physical abilities, natural origin, and other differences. So again, this is submitted by the Board of Directors, and what we're really trying to do here is mirror what was done at the national level in the annual meeting about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago at this point. So I will take a motion from the floor to adopt the language. And looking for a second. All in favor by raise of hands? I think we do have a majority here. So this, any opposed? Okay, so moved. Okay, we'll now transition into open forum. So this is a time for open discussion. If anybody has anything that they would like to comment on, any questions for the board or anything that was discussed here today, please do stand, raise your hand. We've got a big group here, so we can try to get you a microphone. But at this time, we'll go into open forum. One last call here. Rashad.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you to the staff. Thank you for everything this week. It has been a phenomenal experience. I also want to say a personal shout out to Pat Day for pairing me with Nick Cassidy in the Pro on Monday, and Jabir for not being available, as well as Jeff Kaneko not being available. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. It was a great experience in regards to that, and a great inaugural tournament. Again, thank you everybody for your support. I appreciate the kudos, and I'll still be around and be involved however I'm needed in any capacity. But thank you very much for your consideration and your support over the years.
Okay, and with that, we'll close the open forum. Okay, time for me to get off the stage here. We're going to turn it over to Scott Geary and our special guest. Chris, we appreciate you coming out today, and we look forward to hearing your insights and spend some time with our Executive Director, Scott Geary.
Yeah, Chris, if you'll join me up here. It's an honor to have you here. It kind of works out. We're in your hometown where you're living now, but everybody you can see on here, Chris's long list of accomplishments. We're super happy to have him join us here today as a fellow Georgia PGA member. So those associates in the room, if you don't know, a tour member is an A3 in the state that they live in. So we're very honored to have you here today, Chris. But can you just share with us, amongst this group of PGA golf professionals, PGA members, when you grew up and got into the game, any PGA golf professionals you might have worked with or might have had an impact on you getting in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank y'all for having me here. I'm glad that everybody's here in Athens, in my hometown, and I think that becoming a PGA member my way might be a little easier than all the tests that you guys have to do and everything. But yeah, growing up, I grew up in Woodstock, Georgia, north side of Atlanta, and played at Eagle Watch and Town Lake Hills, those two clubs. And Kenny Jacobs was my coach when I was in high school out of Town Lake Hills, and he's in Illinois now, and I talk to him here and there. But yeah, and then Bill Murchison's kind of taken over there at Town Lake Hills, but it was always just such a great thing. He was kind of always on call and went above and beyond what I think you would normally do, just teaching a kid to play golf. I think he saw something in me and was kind of ready there whenever I wanted something and wherever I needed something, and that was pretty much all the time, because I was, as a lot of people are at a young age, and especially my peers on the PGA Tour. I mean, that was all I did. My brother Mason's around here somewhere. He can attest to that. I don't think he saw me a whole lot when I was in middle school and those early years in high school, because it was, if it was daylight, I was out there playing and practicing. So I do remember that coming from Kenny and other PGA professionals, is just that desire and that love of the game was kind of shared by them.
No, it certainly is a special impact that PGA golf professional has on not only a tour player, but those of us who grew up around the game and wanted to learn. So you touched on a little bit sort of your path. Most know here he went to UGA, and I'll get into those accolades a little later. But what did your junior golf pathway look like before college?
Yeah, I really started getting into the game around like 11 or 12. Was big into baseball, loved baseball. Mason, my brother, and I were big into skateboarding, loved that for a number of years. And I think I was better at it than him, because he seemed to always be the one with the broken ankle or twisted knee or something. But yeah, as I got into middle school, started playing a lot more, playing Atlanta Junior Golf Association events. And my parents were at that time, they were not golfers themselves really, so they were very inexperienced in how the whole thing worked, but they also were very willing of like, you know, we'll do whatever it takes, we'll help you out any way that you can. So I think that was a big benefit for me in that I didn't ever get in over my head, because they were not, you know, I see that a lot with my sons now in golf a little bit, but more so like in travel baseball and stuff. It's just crazy now, and all these kids are playing on teams probably that they shouldn't be, and they're, you know, going to who knows where for an all-weekend tournament and all this kind of stuff. And I see these kids not really loving it the way that I did, because I was always kind of at my level. You know, I played Atlanta Junior Golf Association, got to the point where I was winning those tournaments pretty regularly. And then we kind of looked, okay, what else is there? Then the Southeastern Junior Golf Tour came up, and started playing those, was doing okay. And I won one of those, and they said, oh, because you won this tournament, it gets you into an American Junior Golf Association tournament. We said, okay, what is that? We didn't know what it was, and went on to kind of slowly creep my way up and continue to have, you know, not always immediate success, but I never felt like I was really out of my league, and kind of went from there. And then as I got into around my junior year of high school, really kind of summer after my sophomore year was the first time I won an American Junior Golf Association event, and started really playing well on a more national level. And then I think I was maybe a first-team All-American in my last couple years of high school, and you know, got recruited by a handful of schools, and went and visited a number of places, and just fell in love with Athens, fell in love with the University of Georgia, and Coach Hack was such a great recruiter and just a great guy, great person to play for. He fit my personality really, really well, where his mentality was and still is to recruit the best players and let them compete. You know, he wasn't out there making us, you know, hit 3-footers for 2 hours, or we had no mandatory practice at all. We just were all a very competitive group of guys, and you see it, you know, my roommate from college, Brendan Todd, was on the tour, and Kisner and Brian Harmon and all these guys that I played with, as well as the younger generation after me. But we were all just so competitive, we didn't really need that like mandatory forced, you have to do this, you have to do that, or whatever. So, you know, if we had just straight up qualifying, and if you were a top 5 in the qualifier, you played, and if you finished top 10 in the tournament, you didn't have to qualify for the next one. Other than that, it didn't matter who you were going back and playing in that qualifying. So that was a great place for me to be, and kind of continued on that sort of natural progression of kind of being where I felt like I needed to be from a competition standpoint.
Very good. That's a nice segue into my next question a little bit, and actually I think you played with, he's on our foundation board and handles our investments, Doodle, David Denham. On the 2005, won a national championship at Georgia, became a 2-time first-team All-American, set a school record of 7 individual wins, and won the Ben Hogan Award, I believe, in 2007. So obviously a great career in college. Share whatever you'd like, but what stories or memories come to mind from your time here at UGA, either with maybe some of the tour players that you mentioned before, or just anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, obviously a lot of great friendships that developed from my time in college, and you know, I already mentioned Brendan Todd, who's my roommate in college. He lives here in Athens as well, and we play and practice together all the time, and you know, have our entire, I would say adult lives, but even before we were adults, you know. So it's been a cool relationship with him because we obviously are very competitive, and we push each other. We work out together. We practice together. We push each other in every aspect. We also have a very deep level of caring for the other one and for their well-being. And so, you know, when I was in college, the entire time I didn't really work with Kenny much anymore. I would see him occasionally if I went home, but I really didn't have a coach in college. And Brendan was my teacher pretty much. You know, he would watch me hit balls every now and then, and we still kind of do that. You know, we'll be around the chipping green at UGA still, and you know, he'll have a short game shot. I'll be like, what do you think about this? What are you thinking about when you hit this shot? Or what, you know, just bouncing ideas off of each other all the time still. But, you know, thinking back to college, it was, I have some incredible memories, obviously, and I just, the main thing that I remember is just how competitive we were, not only with other teams, maybe even more so with each other. Like there was at times some pretty serious animosity between us, which I won't go too far into that, but you know, we just wanted to beat each other so bad, and whether it was in a chipping contest that day, but it's just amazing that you know, it wasn't forced ever, that environment. It just happened to work out with the group of people that we had, that we all just wanted it so bad. And so yeah, just remembering those qualifying rounds and short game up and down contests and all that stuff, it just was, we weren't always saying the nicest thing to each other, but it was just such an amazingly competitive environment, and I think that was what bred our success as a team and my success individually, and then now you've seen, obviously a lot of us have moved on to have great success as professionals.
Yeah, that's great. The lead played on Walker Cup, correct? Mm-hmm. You have any memories from that, or who was on the team, and how that event went for you?
Yeah, we'll see if I can name all of them, but we did have, for quite a while there, we had 8 out of 10 playing on the PGA Tour. Colt Knost is now retired, or well, not retired, but retired from playing anyways. The two that never played on the PGA Tour were Trip Keeney, and who never turned pro, and Jonathan Moore, who played at Oklahoma State, was an incredible player. So I'll go through this. There's Trip, Jonathan, myself, Colt, Jamie Lovemark, who was my partner at the Walker Cup, and you know, arguably the best player on that team, has battled injuries throughout his entire professional career. Dustin Johnson, Webb Simpson, Kyle Stanley, Billy Horschel, Ricky Fowler was our 10. So
pretty good group.
Yeah, that was you know, we didn't know it at the time. We all then, like, we just thought we were good, you know. But yeah, it turned out to be a pretty good group of players. But certainly a trip that I'll never forget. Royal County Down, if anybody's been there, is absolutely incredible. I'm really excited to go back to Northern Ireland for the Open next year. But yeah, I remember going over there. We went over there a number of days early and played 3 or 4 different places kind of in and around Dublin, and then went up to County Down, and just the entire experience was incredible. We got so fortunate with the weather there, kind of late September, and it was, you know, 60 and sunny with a 10 to 15 mile an hour wind every day. That's probably the only reason why we were actually able to win the Americans, because it wasn't 45 and raining sideways. But yeah, certainly a trip that I'll never forget, and I'm very thankful. So I came really close to turning pro after my junior year of college, and I just remember that spring of my junior year with, you know, agents following me around playing and looking at endorsement deals and trying to figure out what tournaments I was maybe going to play. And then I had about a month stretch in college that spring where I just played terrible. And then I went to the Ben Hogan Award ceremony that my junior year. They have 3 finalists come to see who's going to win Player of the Year, and I thought that I was going to win, and then I didn't. And so a combination of that and just how overwhelmed I was with the whole thought of professional golf, I just said, never mind, stop all this. I'm going to come back my senior year. And then I ended up waiting all the way through September after the Walker Cup. But I'm so thankful that I did. I still had so much maturing to do as a person and as a player, that little bit of extra time certainly helped me a ton to get, you know, I still wasn't ready for professional golf when I did turn pro, but got me a little bit closer, I guess.
Yeah. That's neat. Were there any on the other side that are on tour now, your opponents?
Yeah, Rory and Danny Willett were both on that team. This is bad that I don't remember more. There was a guy, John Perry, I think, that played on the European Tour for a while. Reese Davies was a really good player. I almost said Pablo Martin, but he's from Spain, isn't he? Pablo Martin was an incredible college player from Spain at Oklahoma State. But yeah, they had a very, very strong team as well. So that was, and it ended up being really, really close. I think we maybe won by a point or a point and a half at the most. So yeah, it was one of the most amazing, coolest Walker Cups that's happened.
Awesome,
in my opinion, anyways.
Having just finished top 30, made it to the Tour Championship. First question, what did you think of the new layout?
I thought the golf course was fantastic. It certainly has some growing in to do, but I think that the East Lake is a much more fun golf course to play now. East Lake's always been an absolute classic, great track, but there were times in the course where you were lacking a little bit of variety, I would say. And now with the way the green complexes are, I think Andrew Green does a really good job. Oak Hill was fantastic as well after his renovation there. The way that he kind of sections off some greens to have it where you move the pin from one spot to another and the hole is completely different. And then added a little bit more angle with some of the tee shots. I think that it's going to be fantastic for years to come. It did become a little bit easier, I will say that, which I'll be interested to see as the years go on how people like it as spectators of the Tour Championship. But I think from a playability standpoint, I think they did a great job.
Yeah. And making 8 drivable was interesting, I thought.
Yeah, it's fun. I was a little bit surprised on 8 that if you hit it just left of the green on 8, it doesn't go in the water, which kind of seems like it should. But yeah, I mean it's a really, really exciting hole. I think I've heard a few other people say it. You did kind of turn one of the most difficult golf courses on the hole or one of the most difficult holes on the golf course, into one of the easier holes on the golf course. But it is a really fun hole, especially from that up tee.
Yeah. Obviously, a lot of opportunities come with finishing top 30 in terms of majors and elevated events. Is there an event for you, calendar year, that you really look forward to each year?
Yeah, I mean the Masters is for us and for me, especially growing up in Georgia. But I think almost every player on tour would say the same thing. It is completely in a category of its own. There's just nothing like it. It's, from a difficulty standpoint and the shots that are required that week, you just don't really see anywhere else. You can't really create a lot of the short game shots anywhere else. And then the experience of playing there as a Masters participant is incredible. I'm sure that a lot of people in this room have played Augusta National, and you go there as a guest, and it's an unbelievable experience. The golf course is amazing. The clubhouse staff, everything is amazing. But there is a little bit, you feel like you just don't want to mess up something, or don't break a rule or whatever. But when you go there and you have that little pin on your hat and you're a Masters participant, it is a total 180, and the entire tournament it's all happening because you're there playing, and so it's a completely different experience. So to go and play that week as a Masters participant, and with the way that the crowds are there, it's just different than any other tournament that we play.
Yeah. Well, to go under the hood a little bit, do you have a favorite Masters memory at all?
Personally, or just watching?
Personally,
Masters?
Yes.
I still have one cool one from last year. I shot the low round of the day on Saturday, so they give you a nice little piece of crystal for that. I have various pieces of crystal for making eagles and stuff like that. So the one for low round of the day is a lot nicer and bigger than the.
Do you have the Masters crystal in a separate separate spot at the house? Or?
No, I need it's kind of scattered all over. If you came over to my house and my barn, my golf room where my trophies and various stuff is, it's a little bit embarrassing how unorganized I am. But yeah, that's a good idea. I need to that room is in the process of undergoing a little bit of a renovation and a reorganization right now. So that'd be a good idea to find a special little spot for some Augusta National stuff. And I think it was not this year, but last year I rolled one over the edge for double eagle on 13, and I had a tap in eagle, and that's kind of one of the, obviously making an eagle on 13 is really special, but I watched back that video, I'm just like, man, that would have been one of the coolest moments of my whole career to make a double eagle there.
Do you get a bigger piece of crystal for that? I guess we could ask Louis. I think he.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to make one, and I'll get back to you.
Okay. You talked a little bit about Brendan being a close friend on tour. We get to see you Thursday through Sunday, but Monday through Wednesday when you're traveling, you're out on tour. What's kind of your routine and from event to event?
Yeah, it's certainly changed over the years. Partially with me having more experience on these golf courses, and partially me getting older. I've told a handful of people this. I was the second oldest player at the Tour Championship this year, which feels kind of crazy to me. I don't feel that old, but I am getting close, about to turn 40 in May next year. So, but most of the time, in a standard event, we're going to have a 9-hole pro-am on Wednesday now. They've done that in the last handful of years. So I will generally fly in on Monday evening, sometimes Tuesday morning, but generally Monday evening, just so I can get there, get settled. And then Tuesday, I'll be playing whatever 9 that I'm not playing in the pro-am the next day. Usually some type of workout on Tuesday and some physio. I have there's a guy that he works with me and 3 or 4 other players, and so I've gotten into kind of the cold plunge massage after my day is done every day, just to try to recover a little bit faster and just to feel a little bit more fresh the next day. But yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday is mostly for me about getting my prep work in and feeling prepared, but also trying to conserve energy as well. So it's just, like I said, it's certainly changed throughout the years.
Yeah. Outside of Brendan and maybe some of your fellow dogs, is there some folks you play practice rounds with consistently, or?
I'd say Sepp Straka and JT Poston are my 2 most common, not only practice round partners, but roommates. I've gotten to where I think I maybe stayed in 2 hotels this year. So I got to the point where, and it was, most of it started from a couple of things. One from when I've been sober for 5.5 years or so now, and so when I stepped away from the game for a little while and got back playing, the worst memory I had from those few years of when things were not going well for me was sitting in hotel rooms by myself, because I sort of had achieved all of my dreams and had gotten to the PGA Tour, won on the PGA Tour, got married to the girl of my dreams, started having kids. They were traveling with me. Everything was just like right how I hoped and dreamed that it would maybe go. And then, we got to the point where our kids were in school. I've got 3 boys they're now 7, 10, and 12, but kids are in school, and so now they're at home, and now all of a sudden I'm spending 25 weeks a year by myself, sitting in a hotel room, bored, and just like, this wasn't part of the plan here. That was not in any of my dreams at all, sitting in a hotel room by myself. So when I got back playing, I just said, okay, I'm just not going to stay in hotel rooms by myself. And then shortly after I came back playing, we had COVID hit, and we were out for a little while. And golf being one of the first sports back, now looking back at that time, we have no idea how good we had it, because we were renting these like 6-7 bedroom mansions for $200 a night, and going through the Atlanta airport, and there's nobody in there, and you get on a flight, and there's like 6 other people on the flight. It was just like, we thought it was weird at the time. We're just like, man, I kind of missed that a little bit. But yeah, so I started renting houses every week, and Sepp and Brendan stays with me a lot, and JT Poston, Danny McCarthy will stay with me a pretty good bit, and just kind of a handful of other guys, and so that's certainly changed things for me from a quality of life perspective. We have a lot of fun, and like I said, playing practice rounds together. But yeah, that was a little longer answer probably than what you were looking
No,
for. But
I think
yeah,
that
so
was-
Sepp, for a long time it was Sepp and I versus JT and Patton Kazire. But Patton, with us playing in all these major signature events and stuff like that, Patton wasn't in those this year, so he kind of fell out of the practice round group a little bit.
Maybe he'll work his way back. Who you working with now, coach-wise, swing-wise?
I've been with Scott Hamilton for about 11 or 12 years or so. And if anybody that knows Scott, I'm sure a lot of y'all do. He's an absolute legend. He's a good old boy from Cartersville, from Missouri originally, but he's embraced his Cartersville roots, that's for sure. And he does a fantastic job with me and a number of players on tour. And I wouldn't say that I'm somebody who requires a ton from him now. We kind of have the blueprint of what we want my swing to look like and what I want my TrackMan numbers to be. And so we focus on being as efficient as possible and, keeping those parameters of where my golf swing is as tight as possible, so that I have the opportunity to play well as often as possible. Basically, it's kind of our theory.
Yeah, that's good. I think a lot of us know Scott. He does a tremendous job. You talk a little bit about your swing, and let's kind of transition, I guess, a little into the equipment. So you're with Callaway early on, 13 to 15, I think, on staff, and then tried out some different manufacturers, I believe, and brands. What ultimately brought you back to Callaway?
Yeah, I think 2 main things, I would say. I think for me personally, if I look at, okay, if I'm going to play 14 clubs top to bottom, I think that they're the most well-rounded brand personally. Even when I was a free agent, equipment-wise, I still kind of always had a good bit of Callaway clubs in the bag, it seemed like. The driver especially has been a really great fit for me for a number of years, all the way, back to the Great Big Bertha that I used for 8 years or something like that. The other thing I would say is that their staff on the PGA Tour and the truck are not only guys that I've always kind of got along with the best. Every tour rep is a professional and does a fantastic job, but they've always done a really, really great job of kind of understanding my needs and what I want, and how that's changed as my career's gone on, and now putting up with me how detail-oriented I am with my equipment. I am one of those guys that I could rattle off all the specs on all my wedges and irons and swing weights and my woods and lie angles and every single little thing, and they don't get annoyed with me when I stand there behind them on the machine while they're checking my lies and lofts and looking over their shoulder and having stuff checked constantly every few weeks. And I just have gotten to where after playing a lot of different equipment and trying a lot of different things, I've kind of learned what really works really well for me. And so I am very, very specific about what I want and how I want things to be, how I want them to look, how I want them to feel. And they always laugh at me because they don't mess up much in that truck, that's for sure. But they'll bring me out something to hit, and I'll hit it, and I'll be like, that's one swing light too light or whatever, and they'll bring it back in the truck and shake. They come back on the range, they're shaking their head, and they're like, yeah, you were right. And it's just, so they know that. Maybe they are testing me. I don't know. Maybe it's a game that they're playing. I'm not really sure, but I've definitely gotten very, very detail-oriented, very intricate of how exactly I want things. So those guys do a fantastic job. Kellen Watson is kind of the guy that builds the majority of my stuff. But I trust every one of those guys in that truck to do things the right way and to not approach. A lot of times you'll see club builders will approach a build or approach a fitting with somewhat of an agenda of what they want to accomplish, what they want you to play, the shot that they maybe want you to hit. And so I never feel any of that from them. And that's, even at our level, is hard to find at times.
That's great. It was talked about a little bit. Josh, our now president, mentioned it. Just curious to get your take, and I'm not trying to be controversial, on the golf ball rowback, or the proposed rules there. What do you think as a tour player?
I think that the USGA is trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist, personally. I think that most people in this room will probably agree with me that nobody really wants to hit the ball shorter.
I've been dying to.
And I think that there are times, and I don't want to be overly controversial, but I think that there are times that the USGA will do things just to do things and to make themselves feel important, and that may not be the nicest thing I've ever said, but I've seen it at times with some of their events that they run, and sometimes the US Open is fantastic, as it was this year, and sometimes it's not. So, I just don't really see the need for it. I think that when people go to PGA Tour events or watch PGA Tour events, the main attraction is how incredible we are at golf. And so people are able to see, and golf is so unique in that, most of the fans of golf also play golf. There's a ton of fans of NFL, but there's not a whole lot of them that are playing weekend football games, So everybody always has that comparison of like they watch us hit a shot and they're just like, wow, I can't do that, But I'm going to try, I'm going to go out there and do whatever. And so having the equipment rules be the same for professionals and amateurs is a good thing, I think. And I think the real biggest problem that they'll run into is that, if you're a golf ball manufacturer, why would you want to spend millions and millions of dollars making a ball that you can't sell? Like, that's just not realistic to me.
Yeah. And I'd say as PGA professionals too, now especially those that teach and coach, you're having to find out what competition somebody's playing in that you're coaching and what ball can they use and whatnot. All right, I'm done with the controversy. I'll move on from that. But I found out a little bit of interesting information before we sat down that in the off season, you play golf left-handed. Is that correct?
That is correct. I played this morning.
Okay. Why?
I think more than anything, there's a lot of reasons why, but I think more than anything, it brings me back to the pure joy of trying to get better at golf. Obviously, I'm always trying to get better at golf right-handed, but improvements are right-handed for me are nearly immeasurable. It's just some teeny little thing that maybe I can refine a little bit. Whereas, right now this year my goal is to break 80 left-handed, and I think that I'm going to. I don't know. We'll see. I shot 87 today, so it's not that close.
Pretty good.
But it's just so fun, and I have I have three boys. Like I was saying, my boys are 7, 10, and 12, and my 10 and 12-year-old have really started playing golf a lot just this year and wanted to play a whole lot. And if I go play, just the three of us go and play, I see how special of an experience that is for me. But if I play right-handed, it's like I'm working still, you know? It's like they came into my office and I'm trying to work on something and I'm driving them off into the woods, whatever, and I find myself getting kind of like annoyed a little bit or frustrated or just like, but then when I play left-handed, it's the complete opposite experience. You know, the three of us went and played on Saturday, and you know, we watched like the first hour of the Georgia game against Tennessee Tech, and then went out to the golf course. Nobody out there on a Saturday in Athens. The weather could not have been nicer, and you know, we went and played 18 holes. All three of us riding together. Stopped for a burger at the turn, and it was just like one of those just really truly special days, and of just having fun playing golf. You know, it's not so much less serious for me, obviously, and I just enjoy the game. And my boys actually much prefer to play with me when I play left-handed as well. And not because, you know, at first I thought it was just like, oh, they see me play right-handed and they think that, oh, you know, maybe it seems unattainable or whatever. But that's not actually it. They just, if I like top a 3-wood off the ground, they think it's the funniest thing that they've ever seen in their lives. And so like I'll hit a bad shot or like blade a bunker shot or something like that, and they are just beside themselves laughing because they just love watching me hit terrible shots.
Yeah. Have you gotten to the point where you're tinkering with your left-handed set as much as the right-handed?
No. I had, so the Callaway guys built me a set, and everything like line loft wise is the same, but instead of like, you know, blades and Project X65s, it's like a game improvement Apex iron with, I think I use like a Dynamic Gold 105 S300, and my driver has like a 50-gram S-Flex shaft in it. So, but no, I don't. I got my set. They're good, and yeah, my oldest son was like, we played the other day, and I have a Paradigm driver, and he's like, why don't you have an AI Smoke, Dad? Like, I'm just like, like it's not that big of a deal for me. You know, I'm not really that serious about this. We're just playing for fun. You know, so I don't know. Maybe next year I'll get an upgraded set. We'll see.
Do they give you the left-handed golf balls? Well, this has been awesome, Chris. Thank you so much for coming. Callaway, Mason, John, Bjorn, thanks for, I don't know where y'all are. Thank you for setting this up and bringing Chris out here. We'd like to do a little Q&A. I know we got some mics going around. But before we do that, is there anything, you got a room full of some of the finest Georgia PGA professionals we have. Anything you'd care to say to them or a message to leave with them?
Yeah, just thank you. Thank you for everything that y'all do on a day-to-day basis of you know, not only doing a fantastic job of running the clubs where you are, but growing the game, inspiring, you know, young kids to want to play golf. And you know, it makes such a big difference, and I get to see it with my boys now when they go to the golf course and have, you know, adults that are there that encourage them, like, you know, because it can be a little bit intimidating for a 10 or 11-year-old to go out to the golf course, and you know, and so for them to feel welcome and feel encouraged, it's such a huge thing, and I know that y'all are doing that on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And then we'll open it up to anybody who's got any questions for him. Take advantage while he's here.
Hopefully a few more than the open forum.
Yeah.
So I think we should bring up to the board to give him an exemption to play in one of our Georgia section events left-handed, because he couldn't beat any of us or make a check.
Yeah. Hey, Rashad, you can play with him left-handed next time instead of Cal. Cassidy.
No, I'm excited. I signed up for I paid my $50 to the GHIN thing.
Oh,
I have the app on my phone
You got a
now.
left-handed index?
Yeah, so not yet. I'm about to put in my, I just started this, so I think today will be my 4th or 5th score, so I don't have an actual handicap. I think my projected handicap is about like a 10 or so, something like that.
Any other questions for Chris?
What's in store for you for the rest of the year?
This fall, I'll mostly be here. So, talking a little bit earlier about how things have changed for me over the years, and so my off-season regimen is very, very different than it used to be. I won't be playing golf a whole lot other than some left-handed rounds. I'm going to play 2 tournaments. I have one in October, Black New Tournament in Utah, the Black Desert Championship, I think it's called. And I'm mostly playing that because my kids' fall break is a few days after that, and I'm going to take them to Zion National Park, which is amazing. If anybody's ever been, I went when I was probably 13 or 14, and was just blown away. So I'm excited to bring my boys out there, and then we have the RSM Classic in November. So those 2 events, I can't say that I will prepare for those quite as much as I normally would, but I'll mostly be here at home, and I am a couple hours in the gym 5 to 6 days a week, and I really started doing that about 2 years ago. I kind of started to see okay, I'm not 25 anymore. I don't feel like I'm 25 anymore. What can I do to try to fend off father time for as long as possible? And so I have really focused on that a lot more, of trying to get stronger, add speed to my swing, and so have thankfully been able to kind of adapt and swing the club significantly faster now than I did when I was 25. But putting on a little bit of extra muscle mass to try to help me be able to sustain through the years and through the season, through the summer, and so that's the majority of what I'll be doing this off season, and then taking my kids to school in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon, just being at home, being a dad.
We have another one over here.
I think he was too shy to actually ask it, but he wanted to know, do you have a left-handed swing coach?
No, not yet. We haven't quite gotten to that point, but I'm sure Scott would be happy to give me a few pointers. I think it's mostly right now it's I'm a aim left sling hook player, left-handed, so I gotta work on quit aiming quite so far left, and hit that little inside of the ball draw like I do right-handed. It feels so easy right-handed, and then I'll make a swing and I think it's okay, and I look up and it's over there, and keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, thanks so much for coming. Could you tell me a little bit about your home studio, like what you have at your, I think you said barn?
Sure.
What that setup would be?
Yeah, so we did all the stuff inside the barn recently. I've had a golf room that's just has a bunch of stuff in there, clubs and trophies and whatever else. That's putting green turf. But I put in a TrackMan simulator a handful of months ago, and my kids love it. I've used it a few times, but my kids are on there all the time. And I use the bat. We put in a batting cage and a pitching machine. I spend more time in there than I do the TrackMan simulator. But then project for this off season is going to be putting an artificial turf green outside. And I do have a drive. I live on 40 acres, so I do have a driving range at my house that currently has 0 divots on it. But it's just a lot of it's just fun. Around my house, we have my brother and sister-in-law, and their 2 kids live there, and we have a few other families that are right next to us that we're really close with, and so we kind of have the neighborhood hangout. So there's usually around 6 to 8 boys running around doing whatever, playing every sport imaginable and playing in the woods and all that. So yeah, the TrackMan has been great for them, and I think that as the weather turns a little bit colder, I'll probably get a lot more use out of it as well.
Got one over here.
Go ahead. Either one.
What have you done over the years on the mental side to help your longevity and for your career?
Yeah, I've worked with a handful of different people. I worked with Greg Carton for a number of years, and then about 2 years ago, I started working with a guy named Zach Sorensen. He, at the time, was with the Atlanta Braves, and it was really I read an article, and it was about Kyle Wright, who Kyle pitched for the Braves for a little while. He's injured right now and got traded to the Kansas City Royals. But Kyle was somebody who I watched in the minor leagues, and I'm a very big Braves fan. And so I watched spring training games. I followed the minor league team. I just am really into it. So I would watch Kyle pitch in spring training, and would talk to some of my other buddies on tour. Seth and Patton are both big Braves fans too, and talking like, just wait till you see this Kyle guy pitch. His two seams unbelievable. His stuff's just incredible. And he would get called up to the big leagues and just get shelled every time. He was 0-7 his first 7 starts in the big leagues, and he'd get sent right back down. And then, not last year, the year before, he won 20 games. He was an all-star. He was just, unbelievable. And I read this article about kind of what changed things for him, and he mentioned working with Zach. And so I talked to a few people at the Braves and was just like, hey, would it be okay with you guys? He was an employee of the Braves and didn't really work with anybody else, but would it be okay with y'all if I talked to him? And got to know Zach, and he played in the big leagues for 3 or 4 years, I think, with Cleveland and Anaheim. And it's been fantastic working with him and seeing, he's not a golf sports psychologist, but he's a high-level mental coach, and I've always felt like what golfers and pitchers do on the mental side is very similar. You have the ball is there waiting for you to dictate play, and you have to choose your either shot or pitch and execute that shot or pitch to the best of your abilities, and the outcome is very much out of your control. So Zach has been a fantastic influence, and has just been a really great guy to work with. And I'd say one thing that we do that I really like is that we don't have like set things that, okay, this is how you need to think, this is what you need to do at this point, this is what we're very open to experimentation with different thought processes and different things that we can work on. And I'll take you through a few that have been successful this year. And I remember in Maui at the beginning of the year, I didn't play much last fall, and so I wasn't really expecting a whole lot out of myself going in there. And I got going and playing really well, and was talking to Zach and kind of bouncing a few ideas back and forth before the last few rounds, being in or around the lead. And I'd struggled at times last year with when I got nervous and I didn't like how I felt, and I didn't feel like I was as in control. So we just sort of bounced around the idea of like, okay, yes, you're uncomfortable in that situation. Yes, you're really nervous. Your hands are shaky, whatever. It's just I kind of got to the point where I told myself walking into every shot, it's like, just because you feel bad right now does not mean you cannot hit a great shot right now. You're that good. You can hit a great shot at any time, And so that was something that just worked really good that week. And then 2 months later, it didn't work anymore. And so, and then a few weeks ago in this playoff run, and the playoffs for us are incredibly difficult mentally because they're so different than what we're used to dealing with on a week-to-week basis, I think I entered the playoffs at 29th, and obviously making that tour championship is something that means a ton to us. And so Memphis I played really well. The first round was leading the tournament, and then didn't play great Friday and Saturday, sorry. And then on Sunday I shot like 4 over and just played horrible. And it was just like really struggling with it, and talked to Zach some after, and going through the different emotions I was feeling and looking at all the kind of different things, we kind of finally realized that like I was having a little pity party and feeling sorry for myself, that like, whoa, why is this happening to me? Why did I hit that shot? You know, whatever. And once I kind of came to the realization of that, it was very easy, you know, to snap out of it. It's like, why on earth would you ever feel sorry for yourself? You would never want anybody else to ever feel sorry for you, that's for damn sure. So why are you feeling sorry for yourself? Just go do your job. And then that was kind of my mentality the next week in Colorado. And I shot 1 over the first day, didn't play particularly great, but didn't bother me one bit. It's like, just go do your job, you know. And then I was able to play a great final round and move back up into a place to where I made the tour championship. And so it's always, the mental game is such a challenge, but I like that we have that kind of approach of like, you know, we'll try anything as long as it works, you know.
Chris, hey, you mentioned your exercise workout routine. What is that? What do you do, and do you have to manage any like inflammation or anything like that as you got older? Or
Nothing too bad. I've had some foot issues over the years off and on, but nothing that's ever really stopped me from playing. But I'm fortunate in that with my body type, I can basically just go as hard as I want. So, I mean, I was maxing out on, 5 rep sets of incline bench yesterday, and we did, was doing heavy deadlifts the day before that. And so I go pretty hard, and it doesn't really ever affect, I've told people this before, I'll never forget my freshman physical at Georgia. When I was 18, I was 6'3", 142 pounds. And so I weigh 50 pounds more than that now, which is kind of funny to me sometimes. I still feel like I'm pretty skinny, but yeah, so I'm able to do a lot of, standard Olympic lifting and just whatever I want to try to get stronger. And then we match that with agility and speed stuff as well, box jumps, sprints, and then I do a pretty good bit of speed training with golf. And so for me personally, and this is totally a personal preference thing, I don't like swinging the sticks or whatever, the speed sticks or whatever they are. I've never really liked swinging something that's not a golf club, and I also think that actually hitting a ball makes a big difference. So what I typically do in my speed training sessions is I will hit on TrackMan, but I will only hit into a net because I don't want to know where the ball is going, because that's going to be a mental governor, because as a good player, you want to hit what looks like good shots. And so I don't want to know at all where the ball is going. And so I will just kind of experiment a little bit with what creates speed, what doesn't. Sometimes things that feel fast are not always as fast as other things. And so I usually, a session will end up being around usually 40 to 50 balls. And so I'll hit the first 5 kind of smooth, lower than regular speed, and then we'll hit another 5 to 10 at what I would call stock, which for me is around 115 miles an hour. And then I don't try to go straight from that all the way to the peak. I want to hit about 20 balls in a row where I'm just gradually bumping up. And so 125s is the fastest that I've ever seen on TrackMan, and it usually takes me somewhere around that 35 balls or so to get to that. And then I'll stay in that plateau for only about 5 swings, and then after about 5, I usually will start to see it drop back down a little bit, and I stop. Because you're too fatigued, and I don't think that's teaching you to be any faster. So that's just what, through trial and error and messing with different things, that's what I've found works for me from a speed increase standpoint. So, obviously that 125 miles an hour is not accessible for me during a round of golf. You don't have the time and the reps to build up to that. But I think the raising that ceiling certainly helps, and I've gotten to the point where, 114, 115 is kind of where my cruising speed when I'm playing, and 117 to 118, that is accessible. So now I can do that whenever I want, whenever I need to, which is not that often. But it's been a huge help for me going from somebody who was, I was 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I was about 110. So, it's made a pretty big difference.
Any other questions?
Chris, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind just touching on what your involvement is in the Rose.
Sure. I'm very, very excited about the Rose. I was out there, Brendan and Nick Cassini, who's kind of running the show. 3 of us went out there. I think it was about 10 days ago, maybe something like that. And property is just amazing, just a perfect piece of ground to build a golf course. Brendan and I are both, I think there's maybe 15 founding members, including Kirby and Matthew Stafford and Bubba Watson and a handful of other folks, obviously. And so yeah, the club is fully funded. We've got about, I think there's maybe 90 members that are what they call the founders circle. So people who have gone ahead and joined now before we've really built the golf course. And there's going to be a 4,500 square foot downtown club here in downtown Athens. It'll be just kind of a bar, lounge, hangout place. But as far as my involvement building the golf course, I have not met Tripp Davis yet, who's going to be the designer. I look forward to meeting him and talking to him some. But Brendan and I have both talked about this a good bit, and that we're very excited to learn a little bit about the process from him. I don't plan on giving any input whatsoever from a course design standpoint, because I can tell him what places that I like and places that I don't like, maybe, but we want to let Tripp do his thing. He's a professional. We've seen from his portfolio of work that he does a really fantastic job. So I love, just from a land planning aspect, it's really cool just seeing where it is now and where I know it's going to be. My house here was 40 acres of woods, and I spent 3 years walking around there trying to figure out where I was going to clear and where I wasn't going to clear, and where my house is going to go, where the barn was going to go, all this kind of stuff. And I just really, really enjoyed that process at my house. And this is that on a extremely bigger scale. My involvement really is someone who wrote a check and is excited to learn about the process of building a golf course, and excited about having a place to play and practice every day that is going to be at the level that we know that it will be.
Very cool. Got time for 1 or 2 more.
What are your thoughts on how the PGA Tour is handling the LIV situation? How would you like to see it play out?
It's a good one to end on.
Yeah. That's a good one to end on. You're not gonna hear me bashing anybody like some guys do. I think that a lot of times when you hear the real negative comments, it's hindsight's 20/20. It's easy to say, oh, you should have done that, you should have done that, but you already know what happened, So I think that Jay has had a very difficult job the last handful of years for a lot of reasons. I mostly just kind of try to stay out of it. I see personally, the whole thing has been great because we're playing for $20 million a lot of weeks now, and we weren't before Live, so I see that. I would like to see all the best players in the world together more often than just the majors. I think that there's a lot of Live players that would really, really like that, because I think that they've probably lost a little bit of the real feeling of relevance, I think. But I remember when it first came along and people asked me about it, I never had a conversation with Greg. I got a same email that everybody got from Greg, is that, if you're interested, reach out, and I never did. But I think that my thoughts on the Live Tour are the same as what they were before. Like I think that I think that when I'm 80 years old and I'm sitting around in the locker room, probably at the Rose, and or if I go somewhere else or whatever, and somebody introduces me or says, hey, that's Chris Kirk, he won 6 times on the PGA Tour. Hopefully it'll be more than that by the time I'm 80, but that really means something to me. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot that my great grandkids will get to say, hey, my great grandpa, he was a great player on the PGA Tour. So that really, really, really matters to me. It may not matter in the grand scheme of the world, but to me that means a lot. And I think that nobody's ever going to care how many Live Tour events anybody ever won. I just don't see that happening. So I do hope that it's able to come back together somehow. I don't think that the Saudis are going anywhere, and I don't really know how our negotiations are going with them. Obviously not that well, because they've been doing it for quite some time now. But yeah, I've also seen a lot of my peers have gotten very, very involved in all of this, and I've seen it negatively affect their play, and I've seen them just become grumpy, with trying to deal with all this, trying to manage. But the way I see it, just as much as Trip Davis is a golf course architect, and I am not, Jay Monahan and the other people that represent us on the tour, they are high-level businessmen, and I am not. So I think it's been a good reminder for me of I'm gonna do my thing. If I go out and play well and make more birdies, that always works. It doesn't matter what the structure of our tour is, what anything happens. If I play well, things go really well, and if I don't, they don't. So it was a good reminder for me of just kind of stay in your lane, focus on your business, on what you do, and let the chips fall where they may.
I appreciate it, Chris. I'm not sure what your timeline is. You might be able to hang out and talk to a few folks afterwards, but
yeah, we have to.
Just really appreciate you giving us your time, coming over, speaking with us. I think we all got some good insight into what life's like for you on tour and life like in the off season. And best of luck to you on the left side of the ball.
I need it.
Yeah. I know we're going to do a little raffle here. We do have a football that Chris has signed. If you wouldn't mind grabbing it, if you guys have your raffle tickets.
We could just take the one that fell down.
I see some on some tables.
All right, I got a few. We'll go in this order. All right. 565 4720.
4720.
4720. Yeah, I guess they're all.
565 4720.
4720.
Yep. All right.
4720.
Hey, there you go. Look at that. That wasn't planned.
You would think we, yeah.
Thank you.
You would think we planned that. I wrote Go Dogs on there and everything for you.
I know our President Josh is going to come up to adjourn us, but Chris, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for having
Give
me.
him a